bridge closures. Westbound 407, there's no access to that route from Pine Valley. And also, westbound Boundary Bridge connected to QEW, that remains closed off. And those closures are for construction. Just from the MTO, New Road, northbound on 410, on the ramp to Steele. The center line is stopped because of several vehicles slowed down. Southbound 127, a bit of a delay on the express ramp to the QEW from Great Lakes Coastal Road. And north and southbound on Highway 50 at Major and Kennedy ongoing construction there. It's big and heavy delay northbound on Highway 50. And further to the When connection on that road, Canada's wireless networks have the fastest downtown
Thank you, it's unstable. Your connection to the fucking mouse is stable. Instantly freezes on me. Instantly. The second I need it to count. 153 commercial break.
A little fresh for some after the high heat and humidity. Temperatures below seasonal will be in the teens for the weekend. You're guaranteed high today, 24. Right now in downtown Toronto, it will be 23 degrees. Here, 26 at Pearson Airport, cloudy and 22. Humidity of 28.
Commercial have more places to open and more bike lanes to the City of Toronto's network, especially during this pandemic.
City News Time 1223. If you've got conference calls scheduled between serving lunch, teaching, and working out, we can't help with everything, but we can make sure you're feeling protected. RBC Insurance is here to help you get it. Book an insurance check at rbcinsurance.com/check-in. Pay your bills contest.
Do you find yourself a little more tired than usual these days? Turns out you might be suffering from what is being called Zoom fatigue. Our Jennifer Holman is here to some psychologists who spoke to the CBC. It's named after the video meeting app, but not specific to that one. Instead, these experts say all of the video calls we're having are actually more exhausting than face-to-face meetings. I mean, I get it. There's always that one person whose Wi-Fi isn't working properly and you have to strain to understand them. Makes sense. But these experts also tell the CBC there's something about when a camera is on us. We feel like we have to be on. We do the, oh, hey there, instead of the usual, Also, it's intense having all those video boxes and feeling like there are 20 sets of eyes on you. Plus, I don't like people. I'm Jeff
Polka dots and goddamn park.
Reporting earnings today. 680's Irene Franklin is standing by with all of those details.
It's City News Time 1225.
Diligence.
Adjournment.
Constructive dismissal. Blah, blah, blah. A lot of people expect a meeting with a lawyer to sound something like that. But at Rudner Law, our team will provide the clear, practical advice that you need. My name is Stuart Rudner, and right now, the employment relationship is more complicated than ever. Whether you are an employer or an employee, we will help protect your rights.
HR lawyers, employment lawyers, workplace lawyers, whatever you call them, you'll be glad you did. RudnerLaw.ca.
Now on CBC Gem, raised to a secretly based on Sally Rooney's best-selling novel.
Don't tell anybody in school about this.
I talked to him at school.
The series that critics are calling both epic and intimate.
Would you say your feelings are important?
Oh, it worked.
What is it obvious to
White to yellow. What? Is that a
triumph in every way.
Hey, did you think that I could read your mind tonight? I know maybe that's normal.
Normal People. New series. Now streaming on CBC Gem.
Time now for the 680 News Business Report. Let's check into the Business Center with Irene Franklin. Irene's been a busy week for banks, unleashing their earnings reports, and two more coming up today.
That's right, including TD, which says its second quarter profits were cut in half after it sharply boosted provisions for credit losses due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The bank says it had a profit of nearly $1.52 billion. That is down from $3.17 billion a year ago. TD says it boosted provisions for bad loans to nearly $3.22 billion. That's up from $633 million in the same
$1.5 billion
quarter last year.
didn't make.
Adjusted
Jesus
earnings totaling 85 cents per share, missing the 89 cents that analysts had been expecting.
1.65.
And CIBC missed expectations as its second quarter profit plummeted to $392 million from $1.35 billion a year ago. The drop came as the bank's provisions for credit losses increased more than 5 times from a year ago to $1.41 billion, again due to the pandemic as well as the plunge in oil prices. On an adjusted basis, CIBC says it earns 94 cents per share for the quarter. That is well below the $1.58 that analysts had been expecting. It is time now for the Express Gold Refining XAU.ca gold price update.
Somehow we got the
Gold is higher by just over $8, sitting at $17.35 an ounce. Gold stocks among the leading advancers for the TSX. Banking stocks among the leading decliner with this disappointing news. Shares in TD down $1.68. Shares in CIBC down $1.31. Now, if the TSX maintains the gains for today, it will be the 5th consecutive winning session. Again, right now we're up 32 points to 15,303. On Wall Street, the Dow is up 119 points to 25,667. Boeing, in part, helping to boost the Dow. The S&P 500 higher by 22. The Nasdaq is up 73 points. Crude futures, which had been negative, including when we had the latest U.S. oil inventory report, have now turned positive, up 93 cents to $33.75 a barrel. That is a gain
wait, negative on the day or just negative?
Gold is up $8 to $17.34.80 an ounce. The Canadian dollar is down 4/100ths of a cent, sitting at 72.68 cents U.S.
How bad is the
to recap, the TSX is higher by 31 points and the Dow is up 110. And at the 680 Business Center, I'm Irene Precklett.
Tell them that the squad's here. Give up on the plan, fam. Every year's our year. Top kid, toe tagging, coke bagging, boat banding, park one of y'all at the somersault, Volkswagen, no bragging. I'm the hottest hopper on the table still. Stock shady yellow never drops like a cable bill. Play the feeling gas while I jump a trillion hurdles so we can't share tracks because we run in different circles. Journals full of classics, livers full of greatest. Got so many pictures, I might give some to the neighbors. The realest in the business, all filled with imitators. This the rawest fuck force, bro. You dealing with the brain. Hey, yo, fuck a hook, straight boss, and still make it sound tight. Adam Bond with a real one sound like. Cloud nine rappers hit them with a ground straight. On the one way, we giving them a round play. Well, there's a way, but don't get in the way of our will. Cause if you do, that's the day you get killed. Cause I'm aiming to drill. Cause the game is for real. Every boss like a bullet in your brain will get spilled. And the chamber is filled. To make the whack retire, they advertise. Let's make this shit rapid fire. This your last reminder. If you pass your way out, blow up your close up. You multiply it. They suffer in a cupcake filling. Tie your ass up to the duct tape, stick it to your face, to your fake like some subway shit. Hey yo, fuck a hook, straight bars and still make it sound tight. TRA with a real one sound like. Cloud nine rappers hit them with a ground straight. On the one way, we giving them a round play. Vandal, pick on sweats and chill sandals. Find me landing on your stupidest rail handle. Got them funny when the whole team show up.
Hey man, the thing's cost like $6.
Dope fans grow up. It's on me to grow up. But I gotta reach on with it. Joe King numbers when the smoke screen go up. Cold nights, rock thermals, nocturnal. Parole life, we hot hurdles to block.
Toronto City Council meeting with Active TO, the plan to expand bike lanes to create more physical distancing space at the top of the agenda. COVID-19 cases in Ontario jump up again as do testing numbers while the province continues its focus in on solutions for long-term care homes. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau kicks off a United Nations conference on COVID-19, calling for a coordinated international strategy to deal with the economic crisis caused by this pandemic. A Scarborough man is using his front lawn to raise spirits during the pandemic. Oh, people stop. They thank me. Small signs in the grass carry the words love, strength, and courage, among others. Nick Foligno expects the NHL return to be great hockey, and Formula One cancels another race. Sports at 45.
A modest advance for the TSX. The Dow is up more than 100 points. And a new service from Uber is launching in Canada this weekend. Business at 56.
680 News Time, 12:31.
Time for traffic and weather together all the ones. Here's Carrie Pruskus. Well, looks
You
like
people
we have a
ruined my
delay
mood with that
on the
lawn
westbound
sign
401. There's a
bullshit.
stalled truck westbound 401 approaching Bayview and the Express, and MTO crews have the right lane blocked off. Heavy tow is on the scene here as well. And westbound 401 is slow going from Leslie to approaching Bayview, but just in the express lanes, the collector lanes are moving well. Eastbound on the 401, just a minor delay from Islington towards the 400 express and collectors. Other than that, the eastbound 401 looks to be in great shape. Northbound on the 427 slows a little bit through Rathburn and the express. The right lane is closed for road work. And northbound 427 jams up again.
Still make the sound what a real one sound like. Shit, I'm with a crown stripe. On the runway, we giving them a round light. But your lingerie choosing on my way to stop and James Harder on the shop. Going in, go try to rob and beg your pardon. Instagram plus the name, God's finest. Every day you drop Thomas, get your spot on it. Fiends slipping, they slipping without the stop sign. I play chairs on the edge, leaning like rock climbing. Fuck the clock, shit is over when I stop rhyming. All day I'm shutting down the spot top for bumping. Bumping, just speed up, lots of jumping. Fuck about my trap now, you ain't copping nothing. Half a bird and get probably rocking something. Rocking stuff like on
Day after hot, sticky, and sunny conditions to start off this week. There's still a chance of showers as we move through the night tonight. Lows near 18. Your guaranteed high today, 24.
Right now in downtown Toronto, overcast and 23 degrees. It's overcast and 21 out at Pearson. 680 News Time, 12:33.
Happening now, city
That's
councilors
Bob,
are
yeah,
meeting
Bob's
virtually
right.
to vote on the idea of extending Toronto's bike lane network, all part of the city's efforts to open up roads to cyclists through the pandemic.
680's Momin Qureshi joining us live with more on how this council meeting is going. Momin.
Steve, it's called Active TO, the plan to expand the cycling network throughout the city along the Bloor-Danforth corridor, some of it on University Avenue and other places. Now, this plan was always on the books, something they wanted to do, but now the plan is to accelerate it in part because of the response to COVID-19. Councillor Brad Bradford is a former city planner, and he says he's always wanted to see the plan go through because of the expansion of the cycling network, what it would mean to transportation. But he says when you add in COVID-19, it just makes sense to push it.
Sure, of course,
We
it
are
makes
in the midst
I don't see
of a
how.
fundamental paradigm shift. Things
Stay
will
home,
look
isn't it
different
like
in the
that?
months and years ahead. We need to understand that, and as government,
There's
respond
no money.
accordingly.
Let's paint
That is
some
real
more
leadership.
bullshit.
Now, if
Don't
you're
go in
wondering
the
what
park.
logic
Here,
behind
make
it is and how
circles
it
in the
figures into
park.
COVID-19,
Circles,
here's
circles.
part of it. As we move forward and things reopen, more and more people will be flooding back to downtown, and they want to find a way to keep physical distancing to minimize the spread of COVID-19. So the theory is that if you create a cycle network that is safe, that people will be willing to use, more people will ride their bikes in, less people on transit, less people on sidewalks, and that kind of thing, creating more physical distancing so COVID-19 spreads less. But there are some councillors who are pushing back against the idea of expanding this quickly. Reporting live, I'm Momin Qureshi.
680 News Time, 12:34. Well, it may look weird, but circles are now painted on the grass at Trinity Bellwoods Park to help people stay 6 feet apart. The circles are 8 feet wide and spaced 10 feet apart. Mayor John Tory tells City News the markings will help to further illustrate proper physical distancing requirements.
Well, we knew of the example that had been set, I think, in San Francisco and maybe New York, of these circles being put on the ground to help people to understand what social distancing and physical distancing means. And we saw with that scene that was clearly unacceptable for a standpoint of public health or even adherence to the law in the park last week that there was a real challenge for us there. So I guess this is one of the things you can do to help people understand what physical distancing means.
Sure, thousands of people flaunted social distancing rules at Trinity Bellwoods Park on Saturday. Tory said this is
depending
a
on the rain.
project
Because the rain that's happening today is going to wash the fuck away tonight.
To 680 News, another spike in the number of new coronavirus cases in this province after a bit of a dip of the last couple of days. Our Stuart McGann joining us live after looking at the latest numbers today. Stuart.
Yeah, Steve, after 2 days of seeing new cases dip below 300 today, the number shot right back up. 383 new cases among which
Valley, a
34 new
two-day
deaths.
streak.
But we did see testing numbers continue to increase. Close to 18,000 were completed yesterday. It comes as long-term care issues remain at the top of the list for provincial officials. And NDP leader Andrea Horwath says there's nothing surprising about what was learned in the report this week from the military.
There have been massive droughts in long-term care for decades in this province, and it shouldn't be a surprise to Mr. Ford or Ms. Fullerton.
Doug Ford said yesterday the province will be launching an independent commission into the sector, and said after assuming control of 5 long-term care homes, they won't hesitate to take over more if it's necessary. The Minister of Long-Term Care, Marilee Fullerton, will join Ford for today's provincial update. That's coming up in about 25 minutes. You can hear it live on 680 News. Reporting live, I'm Stuart McGinn.
Well, it seems it's just the tip of the iceberg. As 680 business editor Chris McCusker tells us, the 5 long-term care homes in Ontario cited in that military report are running dozens of other facilities. The National Post says the companies cited in the report are actually in charge of 80 of the 630 facilities in Ontario. As an example, Altamont Care Community in East Toronto is run by Sienna Senior Living, which has 37 facilities in the province. Military members reported seeing some residents bedbound for weeks, and that company posted $7.5 million in profits in 2019. Well, the company that runs Pinecrest Nursing Home in Bobcaygeon, where 28 residents died, operates a total of 27 facilities in Ontario. On its website, it brags it's the 6th largest operator in the province with ambitions to grow. At the Business Centre, I'm Chris McCusker.
You're listening to Toronto's only all-news radio station. This is 680 News. Well, a major step forward for the Yonge North Subway extension. The provincial government in York Region now signing a preliminary agreement to partially pay for and build the estimated $5.6 billion project. Now, it essentially would see the subway extended another 7.4 kilometers north on Yonge Street from Finch Station to Highway 7 in Richmond Hill. Mayor Dave Barrow says that expanding the subway to the city's critical missing link in the transit network of Greater Toronto and Hamilton, and the region is looking for a 40% funding commitment from the federal government.
You're listening to 680 News. Experts say the pandemic could accelerate the transition to cashless payments. 680's Irene Precklet joins us with more. So let's see your wallet. Chances are a lot of busting. How about cash? The Bank of Canada says the shift away from the banknote has been ongoing for more than a decade, but the pandemic could accelerate the change. Some businesses that are reopening during the pandemic are now going completely cashless. They include Best Buy, the shoe company, even some grocery stores. But the central bank is warning that refusing to accept cash, while legal, further marginalizes some of society's most vulnerable. Roughly 1% of Canadians don't have a debit card, and one expert says the number of people who can't or don't use credit cards is even higher. At the Business Centre, I'm Irene Precklet.
Well, the province's police watchdog says an autopsy is going to be conducted today on a 29-year-old Toronto woman who fell from a 24th floor apartment balcony in Hyde Park. Toronto police officers were called to the building around 5:15 yesterday afternoon after getting reports of a domestic dispute. A special investigations unit says when officers arrived, they saw a woman on the balcony, and a short time later, she fell to the ground. The woman was pronounced dead at the scene. Now, the SIU says it is aware of allegations made by certain family members of the victim and is now looking to speak to anyone with more information about them. Chief Mark Saunders, by the way, of Toronto Police, says they are fully cooperating with the investigation.
Well, the number of Americans filing unemployment claims has eased somewhat, although the number remains enormous by historical standards.
The Labor Department reports more than 2.1 million people applied for jobless benefits last week. That's down from the previous week as restrictions aimed at curbing the spread of the coronavirus are eased in many states and businesses gradually reopen. The total number of people who have lost their jobs in the weeks since the virus struck has now reached 41 million. However, with companies calling some laid-off employees back, the number of people now receiving unemployment aid stands at 21 million. The national jobless rate was 14.7% in April, the highest since the Great Depression, and many economists expect it to be closer to 20% in May. Ben Thomas, Washington.
Now the 680 News gas price update. And processed price of gas should drop 3 cents at midnight tonight, down to 92.9 cents a liter.
680 News Time, 1240.
Good mornings, good workouts, good coffee, good meetings, good tea, good friends. It's time to get back to
Deals on now, and our stores are now open. Or shop our amazing deals online. Sleep well, stay well. Sleep Country.
Time 12:41.
Time for traffic and weather together all the ones. Here's Carrie Preskus. This report is brought to you by Speedy Auto Service. We have a couple of issues affecting the westbound 401. Approaching Bayview in the Express, the right lane is blocked because of a stalled truck. It's backed up now from the 404 in the Express. So use the collectors through this stretch. You'll save yourself a few minutes. And then westbound on the 401, approaching Avenue Road in the Express. Be careful in lane 2 from the left. Reports of a big piece of tire debris. I just notified the MTO. And they're moving the cameras in the area, so watch out for that westbound 401 as you're approaching Avenue Road in the Express. It's in lane 2 from the left. Eastbound on the 401, a bit busy from Islington to the 400, but just in the express lanes through there. So when it breaks off east of Kipling, slip into the collectors to save yourself a bit of time there as well. Northbound on the 427, a minor delay as you approach Rathburn in the Express. That's where the right lane is closed for construction. And it bunches up again on the northbound 427 as you head past the 407. Left lane closed there for road work. Northbound on the 410 on the ramp to Steeles. MTO is reporting the center lane blocked because of a stalled vehicle. Not seeing any delay though. Northbound on Highway 50, that's jam solid from just north of Rutherford up to Major Mackenzie. Ongoing construction at that intersection. And southbound Kiel is also backed up from just south of Shepherd to approaching Tavistock because of water main work. Stay safe on the roads with Speedy Auto Service, your trusted, locally owned repair and maintenance professionals committed to enhanced vehicle cleaning protocols. Book your appointment at speedy.com. And now with the forecast, here's Denise Andriachi. Periods of rain through the day today, the remnants of a tropical system making its way into the GTA. So special weather statements have been issued up to 40 millimeters expected. We could see a little bit of potting and pooling on the roads. So just take it easy and drive according to the weather conditions for today and tomorrow. More showers expected Friday with the chance of thunderstorms. Your guaranteed high today, 24.
Right now in downtown Toronto, we've got overcast conditions and 23 degrees. It's overcasting 22 out of Pearson. 680 News Time, 12:43.
And now the Scotia iTrade Market Minute, live from the Business Center. Here's Irene Precklin. Sarah, we've got positive sessions on both Bay and Wall Street. The TSX is up 57 points to 15,328. Broad-based gains covering all sectors. The notable exception would be financials. On Wall Street, the Dow is up 182 points to 25,730. The S&P 500 higher by 17. The Nasdaq picking up 92. Crude futures up 77 cents to $33.58 a barrel, a gain of more than 2.3%. Gold is up just over $7 to $17.3440 an ounce. The Canadian dollar is now little changed at 72.70 cents U.S. At the 680 Business Center, I'm Irene Precklin.
Direct Invest with Scotia iTrade. Get started in 3 easy steps and begin your investing journey from home today. Learn more at ScotiaITrade.com.
Are you ready for the heat and humidity this summer? FactoryDirect.ca has one of the best selections of brand name air conditioning products in Canada at a fraction of regular retail prices. Whether you're looking for a window or portable air conditioner, small or large fans, air purifiers, or just an inexpensive dehumidifier, we have something that fits your budget. Visit our website at FactoryDirect.ca or one of our 20 stores in Southern Ontario. Don't wait, supplies are limited. Get the products you need today.
This is exciting. North Toronto Auction's 2-day online-only auction event. Friday at noon, ATV, sleds, salvage and small equipment. Then Saturday at 9 a.m., municipal equipment and fabulous pre-owned cars and trucks. Don't be afraid buying online. NTA is introducing a 72-hour buyback. Don't like the car? Bring it back. Also introducing the yearly Pro membership for easy online access anytime. New website, new way of doing business. NorthTorontoAuction.com. Some conditions apply.
This is All News Radio, 680 News.
Cloudy sky in downtown Toronto. It's 23 degrees. Good afternoon from the 680 News Broadcast Center. I'm Sarah Perrick.
And I'm Steve Roberts. Here are the top stories right now.
The City Councillor is holding a virtual council meeting today where they're expected to vote on a plan to expand bike lanes in Toronto. The extension is all part of the Active TO program, which aims to give cyclists and pedestrians more space during the pandemic. Another increase in new COVID-19 cases today, with Ontario reporting 383 new infections. Quite the jump from yesterday's number, which was at 292. The good news, though, is the number of tests has increased, with the province completing roughly 17,000 over the last day. Time now for 680 Sports from Sportsnet 590 The Fan. Here's Andrew Nye.
Sir, the NHL has made it official. The Boston Bruins are the 2019-2020 President's Trophy winners as the team with the best overall record. Bruins winger David Pastrnak earned the Maurice Richard Trophy, as did Washington's Alex Ovechkin as the league's top goal scorers. Also, Bruins netminders Tuukka Rask and Jaroslav Halak combined to win the Jennings Trophy for the team that allowed the fewest goals. Edmonton's Leon Draisaitl picks up his first rise as the league's scoring champion with 110 points in 71 games. Columbus captain Nick Foligno thinks a resumed NHL season will be great hockey, and that first game of the play-in round is going to be very important, knowing you only have 5 games to get your team into the next round. Foligno told Good Show, quote, even in a 7-game series, it's a feeling-out process, and you try to steal one on the road. Now it's like every game is almost like a game 7. I think that's the thing we're not going to be as used to.
It's you guys being fucking
planning to resume Wednesday, June 17th, with a pair of matches in hand. Aston Villa takes on Sheffield United, and Man City will face Arsenal. And the Dutch Grand Prix has become the 4th Formula 1 race canceled this season due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Sports at 15 and 45 past every hour or anytime at sportsnet.ca/590.
Being stuck in your home during this pandemic also means you have a home. Waiting in line for groceries means you have money for groceries. The isolation, being broke and totally scared about what's next. I was feeling that before this crisis. People say we're in this together, but me, I've got no one.
Youth who have aged out of the child welfare system are in danger of falling further through the cracks because of today's crisis. They need your support. Please give today at helpyouthnow.ca.
SendUsMasks.com is your trusted source for reusable and washable, high-quality, 100% cotton face masks. SendUsMasks.com can supply you with a small personal use pack of 5 masks or 50,000 masks for your entire organization. All orders ship from the Toronto warehouse within 1 to 2 business days. Discounts available for recurring orders. Cost-effective, large quantity orders are also available. Order today
and
at
an electric chainsaw with a cord. That's the cord.
The Prime Minister has kicked off the United Nations Forum aimed at tackling the social and economic impacts from this pandemic. More from our Parliament's Hill reporter, Cormac McSweeney.
Calling it an international challenge with many dimensions, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau used his opening speech at this forum to push countries to work together to develop a path forward out of this pandemic.
For the global economy to recover and for our domestic economies to bounce back, we need a global, coordinated plan.
The UN
that's not how you get money out of
recovery
plan.
plan.
You're the only one at the table with money, stupid.
$1 trillion from the world economy. On other matters, later today, the Prime Minister will hold a conference call with premiers to discuss the disturbing conditions of long-term care facilities. Trudeau has promised to support the provinces to improve care for seniors, but notes it is provincial jurisdiction. The Prime Minister and his government also expected to face questions today about the recent court loss for Huawei executive Meng Wanzhou, who's fighting extradition to the States. There are fears this legal setback for Ms. Meng could lead to further retaliation from China and put at risk Michael Spavor and Michael Kovrig, the 2 Canadians being arbitrarily detained. Cormac McSweeney, Parliament Hill.
So, should you wear a mask outside? What if it's too hot? Canada's Chief Public Health Officer, Dr. Teresa Tam, shares some mask-wearing advice.
I want to reiterate caution for all Canadians who are currently experiencing heat and humidity in some parts of the country. Wearing a mask can make breathing difficult. Therefore, when you are outdoors, maintaining the physical distancing is the key. Extreme heat can worsen pre-existing conditions and breathing difficulties.
She suggests wearing the mask indoors in places where physically distancing is difficult, such as the grocery store. A Scarborough man is using his front lawn to raise the spirits of his neighbors during this pandemic. The metal sculpture artist has built a small installation on the grass with messages he hopes will give people comfort. We get more from 680's Kevin Meisner.
The first thing you notice is the word love spelled out in 3 4-foot-high letters nestled between two trees here in the front of Gregory Robbins' house near St. Clair and Birchmount. Several smaller signs read faith, courage, believe, and trust. Robbins says he noticed more people out walking these days and wanted to give them a boost.
Yeah, I figured what better way to help people while they're walking around and getting fresh air during this pandemic. And also, there's a message of love that I want to project.
So the reaction of people has been great. People stop,
they thank me, they send me cards in my mailbox.
Robbins says his goal is to spread some positivity in an uncertain time.
Because we know we're all in the same boat.
You're St. Clair and Birchmount. I'm Kevin Meisner.
680 News on 1251.
Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Carrie Preskis. This report is brought to you by Volvo of Toronto. Westbound on the 401, approaching Bayview in the Express. The right lane is blocked because of a stalled truck. A heavy backup from the 404 in the Express. The collector lanes are moving very well through this stretch. And then westbound 401, be careful as you're approaching Avenue Road in the Express. We had reports of a large piece of tire debris in lane 2 from the left. MTO crews were on their way last I spoke with them. Eastbound on the 401, that's getting busy from Islington to the 400, mainly in the express lanes. And we have a new problem on the eastbound 401 ramp to Markham Road. Right at the start of that ramp, the right lane of that ramp is blocked.
Toronto, and I hate you.
There's a stall truck on the right shoulder. So use extra caution as you approach this problem. Westbound QEW, the West Mall and Evans Avenue ramp to the westbound QEW, that remains closed off for construction. It's scheduled to reopen in a couple of days. Northbound on the 427, a bit busy through Rathburn in the Express. The right lane is closed for road work, but they've wrapped up the construction northbound 427 from Finch to the 407. So those delays have eased off. Northbound on the 410, problems on the ramp to Steeles have cleared away, and it looks like construction is cleared as well on Highway 50 at Major Mackenzie, so those delays are gone. Great news from Volvo of Toronto. Get 3 payments waived when you lease any in-stock 2020, or save an additional $2,000 when you purchase or finance until today. See volvooftoronto.com for details. And now with the extended forecast, here's Denise Andriachi.
Periods of steady rain this afternoon with still the chance of showers lingering tonight. Through the day on Friday, some scattered showers and thunderstorm potential as your 22. The weekend looks fantastic. Lots of high pressure sunshine. Temperatures a little cool, a little below seasonal, but still comfortable in the upper teens. Saturday, you're 18 degrees, and Sunday, highs you're 17. Keep your eyes to the skies and an umbrella handy today. You're guaranteed high 24.
Right now in downtown Toronto, overcast and 23. We got overcast conditions and 22. It appears at 680 News Time, 12:53.
Your roof sprung a leak. Water came through, shorted out the furnace, the radiator too.
Hey, stuff happens. And when you need money now, and I mean right now, there's PrudentFinancial.net.
If you need money in a hurry, PrudentFinancial.net.
You lost money just laying around?
Get money quick, just one click. PrudentFinancial.net.
Our rates are way cheaper than a payday loan, and they help to improve your credit score. When you own your car or home, get a loan up to $50,000 fast.
PrudentFinancial.net.
Yeah, $50,000, eh? Yeah, set that up.
680 News, first at 5.
With Laura Carney and Rich Berg.
Weekday mornings at 5 on 680 News.
Ask for us on your smart speaker. Well, the boys of summer stay off the field for now. The Blue Jays have another special virtual show for their fans tonight.
First off, Virtual Variety Hour. Try saying that 5 times fast. Unique New York. All right, fine. Tonight is the Blue Jays' second Virtual Variety Hour. If you didn't watch the first one, here's some of what you missed.
Who's most likely to forget
You're going to make all these guys ashamed to have a tattoo, right? Who paid for
First major league hit. Who were the players on base? Wow.
Oh my God.
No chance. I think I got it. JP, because he got walked. Corey Patterson, Edwin Encarnacion, I think.
Wow.
Jays President Mark Shapiro among those to be on tonight's show. If you're interested,
wow, he just remembered his own statistics, right?
Variety
Oh,
Hour to
wow.
sign up for the Zoom conference. Only the first
that really-
5,000 to register get access. It's tonight at 7. I'm Simon Bennett.
Coming up in business news in 60 seconds, a sea of green for North American markets.
680 News Time, 12:55.
Want to discover this year's most innovative new products? Visit productoftheyear.ca. From the buzziest beauty products and luxe culinary finds to cutting-edge appliances and oh-so-good sweets, thousands of Canadians have voted for the most innovative new products for 2020. The world's largest consumer-voted award for product innovation that recognizes product design, functionality, quality, and packaging. And the products that impressed are yours to behold at productoftheyear.ca.
With like a cigarette and rolling paper in there.
Biggest subscription sale is on now. Don't pay for 6 months on all new cars. Your safety is our #1 priority. We have masks and gloves ready for you. Our offices are sanitized every hour.
Design, packaging, functionality.
Looking for design? I'm your guy. No payments for 6 months on Canada's biggest inventory. Get a super deal from the Superfan now. Visit MrSarahHonda.com or
I'm still looking at the back of my leg like it's dirty. That
680 News on 1256.
Now the 680 News Business Report. Here's Irene Poplin. And Sarah, something new from Uber. It's a sign at the Times. Launching this weekend, Uber Connect. The service will let you send same-day packages to family and friends, whether it's a care package of homemade cookies or a gift for that special occasion. The contactless delivery solution will be available in Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, Vancouver, Calgary, as well as Edmonton. Uber says the service was designed to make it easier for people to deliver things to others. Air Canada increasing the size of a financial deal announced earlier this week to roughly $1.4 billion as it works to bolster its coffers to deal with the pandemic. The company says the shares in the offering have been priced at $16.25 per share. It plans to issue 30.8 million shares, hoping to raise $500.5 million. Air Canada, one of the most actively traded stocks on the TSX. Shares in the airline up 2 cents to $16.46. And the direction of the TSX higher by 69 points to 15,339. The gains are pretty broad-based. Gold stocks among the leading advancers. Financials, specifically banking stocks, the leading decliner. We did have the last two of Canada's big banks issuing their earnings reports today, and all of the banks setting aside a lot of money to cover possible bad loans because of the pandemic. On Wall Street, the Dow is up 178 points to 25,725. The S&P 500 adding 27 points. The Nasdaq is higher by 93 points. Crude futures up a buck to $33.80 a barrel, a gain of 3%. And time now for the Express Gold Refining XAU.ca gold price update. Gold is up just over $5 to $17.3220 an ounce. The Canadian dollar sitting at 72.71 cents US. That is little changed. To recap, the TSX is higher now by 65 points. At the 680 Business Center, I'm Irene Carter.
Steel Dealer Days are back this spring, featuring our line of steel battery-powered lawnmowers. Make mowing your lawn a breeze with uncompromised power and great features, including a rear bagger, 7 height adjustments, and a mulching blade for $599.95. Or choose a self-propelled model starting at $699.95. Steel battery products are sold over 1,000 authorized steel dealers across Canada. Find your local dealer today at Steel.
630 is these fucking places. Oh, we got 5 now.
I was 13 years old when I first heard the word
cancer. Oh, about 900.
Really? Colon cancer was an overwhelming shock. I'm Eric McCormack. Research, including clinical trials, helps to change the story for cancer patients across Canada.
I am now 9 years cancer-free.
Join Stand Up to Cancer Canada and the Canadian Cancer Society to learn more about the groundbreaking research that translates into life-saving treatments. Visit standuptocancer.ca/CCS to learn more.
Taking a look at some regional weather conditions in Bradford right now. Sunshine, 25 degrees. It's mostly cloudy and 23 in Ajax. Milton, some light rain, 24. Lightly raining in 23 in Hamilton. Innisfil, some sun and cloud, 23 degrees. Cloudy sky, 22 in Mississauga. Downtown Toronto, it's cloudy and 23. Humidex of 26. The News Watch never stops. 680 News is CFTR AM Toronto. It's 1 o'clock.
#1 for breaking news, traffic, and weather. This is 680 News Toronto.
Here are Steve Roberts and Sarah Perrin.
Well, good afternoon. This is Thursday, the 28th of May.
Good afternoon. Here's what's making news this hour.
Council is holding another virtual meeting. with Active TO, the plan to rapidly expand out the city's bike lane network in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, the main item on the agenda.
New COVID-19 cases in Ontario jump again, but so do testing numbers, all while the spotlight remains on the province's steps to resolve issues at long-term care homes. And we're just moments away from the Premier's daily COVID-19 briefing. We will take you there live as soon as it happens. The Prime Minister is calling for a coordinated international plan to respond to the economic and social
you know how much
impacts of
they hate us for growing
COVID-19
weed?
as he co-hosts a United Nations Forum.
Canada go to the United Nations asking for money. You're a
Buffalo, and the NHL
the only one with
announces its
money.
season-ending award winners, Sports at 15.
You in Russia.
Ascension on both Bay and Wall Street. The TSX up 64 points. The Dow 176. The Looney's little changed. And it's National Burger Day, something Canadians like a lot. Business at 26. City News Time 101.
Time now for traffic and weather together on the ones. Who doesn't love good burger?
You're allowed to buy one.
Absolutely. The vegetarian kind for me. Yay. This report is brought to you by Bergmanis Pereira Personal Injury Lawyers. On the northbound Don Valley Parkway, we have a new problem. Northbound DVP at Bloor. The right lane is blocked because of a stalled vehicle. This just happened, so that backup is just building now on the northbound Don Valley Parkway as you approach Bloor. Westbound on the 401, approaching Bayview in the Express. The right lane is blocked with a stalled truck. It's slow going from the 404 in the Express. And then watch out for tire debris on the westbound 401 as you're approaching Avenue in the Express. It's reported in the lane 2 from the left. Eastbound on the 401, a bit busy from Islington to the 400, mainly in the express lanes. But once you're east of the 400, it's in great shape. We just had that problem on the eastbound 401 ramp to Markham Road clearway, so that's out of the way. Northbound on the 427 at Rathburn in the Express, the right lane is closed for construction. It's busy as you approach Rathburn in the Express. And keep in mind, there's no access to the westbound QEW from West Mall or Evans Avenue. That ramp to the westbound QEW is still closed off for construction. Bergmanis Pereira Personal Injury Lawyers thanks our frontline workers and all of you who have made a contribution in the fight against COVID-19. They're proud to stand by your side during these challenging times and will always be here to support you. Visit them at bplawyers.ca. And now with the forecast, here's Denise Andriachi.
Periods of on and off rain today as we are under special weather statements. It was a hot and sticky stretch of weather here in the GTA. Now slightly unsettled for a couple of days and back to seasonal weather. Overnight today, temperatures in the teens with still some showers expected Friday and the chance of thunderstorms. Your guaranteed high today, 24.
Cloudy sky, 23 degrees in downtown Toronto. It feels like 26. 680 News Time 103.
A plan to add more bike lanes to Toronto's network is now being discussed in a virtual council meeting today.
680's Momin Qureshi joins us live with more on the proposed expansion, all part of the city's Active TO program. Momin.
Sarah, the plan would add several kilometers of bike lanes along the Bloor Danforth line, as well as along University Avenue. There would be separated bike lanes that would be safe for people to travel. Now, initially, there was just plans to expand the cycling network because they want us to create more options. But now, with the advent of COVID,
no fucking money.
The thinking is that they want to find ways to encourage people to maybe cycle in. That way, there'll be fewer people on transit, fewer people in other spaces. That would create more physical distancing space to prevent the spread of COVID-19. However, some councillors like Stephen Holiday.
And happening right now, we're going live to Premier Doug Ford at Queen's Park.
Force this to be made public. I wanted everyone to see what I saw because getting more eyes on the situation was critical. I wanted the public to know exactly what we're dealing with because it's only through openness and transparency that we can ensure those who need it will be protected, that we can ensure there'll be accountability, that we can ensure there'll be justice. And I stood at this podium day after day. I promised you there would be action. I promised you I would break down the silos. I would push the system, and we're moving at lightning speed. We've taken decisive action. We appointed temporary management of 7 homes in the system. We're deploying inspection teams to our homes. 6 teams of inspectors will be actively monitoring the hardest hit homes for the next 2 weeks. In the next 3 weeks, there'll be a full inspections of every home we're concerned about. And we'll be doing spot checks in homes throughout the system.
We launched a full investigation following the military report. The chief coroner and the auditor general have also launched investigations.
Auditor General, that's his money.
And we moved up our independent commission to July.
Do all that money.
No stone will be left unturned.
The money I can spend. Money.
We're working around the clock to keep your loved ones safe. We're pulling in reinforcements, boots on the ground from every corner. Hospitals, public health, home and community care, volunteers and students, our men and women in uniform. Everyone is pulling in the same direction. And in April, our government set up an incident management system long-term care table to rapidly respond to problems in our long-term care homes. This is a multidisciplinary team of experts. This table is made up of the best and the brightest. We sent in our COVID-19 SWAT teams to help with infection prevention and control, support appropriate staffing levels, and complete testing of all residents. We filled priority requests for PPE within 24 hours. Millions of protective masks and gloves that our frontline staff needed. We worked with our hospitals to partner them with long-term care homes in urgent need of support. We were, and we still are, all hands on deck. And we will keep going until the job is done. So today, I'm extending the mandate of that table, and we are seeing results. Positive tests for COVID-19 among residents have gone down to single digits. We've completed testing in all of our homes, and the second round is well underway. And in the event of a surge of the new COVID-19 cases in the community, we will be prepared. My friends, we're sparing no expense. We're stopping at nothing because the stakes are too high. We will do whatever it takes in our power to protect our most vulnerable seniors and ensure they get the care they deserve. That is my commitment to our long-term care residents, to staff who care for them, their families, and to the people of Ontario. Thank you, and God bless the people of Ontario. Now I'll pass it over to Minister Fullerton.
Fucking greenhouses with Toronto Hydro. And the triple mix.
Today, our government is renewing the mandate of the Incident Management System Long-Term Care Table, also known as the IMS Table. The IMS Table meets daily to organize efforts across multiple providers and ministries and make rapid decisions to support long-term care homes in need. Homes identified for support are those struggling to maintain clinical stability, complete infection prevention and control assessments, ensure appropriate staffing levels, have access to personal protective equipment or PPE, and complete the testing of all long-term care home residents and staff. Through the work of this table, we have seen marked improvements to our long-term care homes affected by COVID-19 outbreaks. Some key improvements are, since May 1st, increased the numbers of low-risk green homes from 356 to 547 homes, representing 87.4% of all long-term care homes in the green zone. Since May 1, reduced the number of high-risk red homes from 35 to 19. That's a 54.3% improvement. And as of May 27th, the IMS has deployed 37 hospitals into 59 yellow homes and 19 red homes. Completed testing of long-term care residents and staff, with a second round of testing already underway. The number of COVID-19 positive tests in long-term care homes decreased from 12.5% to 7.5%. And as of May 28th, 129 out of 626 long-term care homes are in active outbreak, from a high of 190 on May 18th. 164 outbreaks have been resolved. And what we saw in the reports from the Canadian Armed Forces was gut-wrenching and appalling. And my heart goes out to the families and loved ones of those affected by these allegations. These 5 homes were the absolute hardest hit homes in our province from COVID-19 outbreaks and staffing issues. And that is why our government requested the assistance of our Canadian Armed Forces to help stabilize these homes. Additionally, our government has taken immediate and direct action to investigate and correct these situations identified in the Canadian Armed Forces report. I can confirm that the teams of inspectors announced yesterday are currently in all 5 of the CAF homes today. And these teams of 2 inspectors for each home will develop customized inspection plans based on the details outlined in the CAF report. These comprehensive inspections will include record and chart reviews, in-depth interviews with staff and residents, and observations in order to determine the extent of the issues, among other items the inspectors deem necessary. The 5 long-term care homes that received CAF support have undergone 45 inspections from June 2018 to May 2020. These 5 homes have been receiving support from hospitals, Ontario Health, the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Long-Term Care, as well as Public Health Ontario. And also, inspections have been scheduled to occur at all the 19 red homes within the next 21 days. With respect to yesterday's announcement about alternative management being appointed at several homes, I will provide you with the list of managers being appointed to those homes. Trillium Health Partners will be managing Camilla Care. Unity Health Toronto will be managing Eatonville. North York General will be managing Hawthorne Place. Scarborough General will be managing Altamont. And I want to thank these hospitals for assisting our long-term care homes during this unprecedented time. As the Premier said yesterday, we will use every tool available to stabilize our long-term care homes. The safety and well-being of our residents, their caregivers, and their families are our #1 priority. We will get through this. Thank you.
We'll go to the phone line for questions. First question.
First question comes from Lucas Meyer from News 1010. Please go ahead.
Thanks very much. Premier, on the inspections of the 4 specific homes laid out in the military report, are you setting a specific deadline at a decision for those 4 homes? I mean, you said yesterday that you wouldn't hesitate to revoke licenses. So for those 4 ones, after these 2 to 3 week inspections, is the government prioritizing that decision, and by then you will have made a decision on the future of those homes?
Yeah, first of all, there's actually there's 5 homes. We added one got out of the red and one went in, so we have 5 homes that we're inspecting. But we'll review it and we'll make that decision then, and hopefully we can get these homes to follow the proper protocol.
And on another subject, Premier, this came up a little bit in March, but the government announced today the preliminary Ontario-York Region transit deal, while also calling for the feds to pay up. But I'm wondering, given the pandemic, are you considering postponing any of the major transit projects? And have you gotten any indication that federal transit funding may be on hold, in which case projects could be affected as well?
Oh, absolutely not. This conversation comes up every single Thursday. It's going to come up again with the Prime Minister when we have a conference call with the premiers. Infrastructure is critical, and there's no better way to get people back to work anytime. You go back to the Depression, it's infrastructure. We need to continue building these lines for the next 50 years. We just can't stop right now. It's too far down the tracks, excuse the pun, but we're building these 4 lines.
None of it, so it ain't getting more out.
We need traffic congestion to slow down, people to take rapid transit opposed to hopping in their car. And environmentally, I think it's great. So we need the funding from the feds to step up and do their 40% that they usually do. And they've been great so far, but every single week this conversation comes up about infrastructure. We're putting our fair share in, and we really hope that the federal government would put their 40% in.
Next question.
Next question comes from Travis Van Nash from Global News. Please go ahead.
Hi there, Premier. Good to talk to you today. I had a question from yesterday that I'm going to ask you today about the report and the inspections. Inspectors from the Ministry of Long-Term Care have visited all 5 facilities in recent months, right before the pandemic. and then reported violations in all 5 of them. Some of the incidents are very similar to what appeared in the military report. In some cases, there are multiple incidents. How can you say that your government didn't know about this until the military report told you about it? And if the government knew, which clearly is the case, why was nothing done for months?
Well, I'll pass this over to the Minister of Long-Term Care.
We're supposed to fire him yesterday.
So we've had many inspections of the homes, as you've mentioned, since June 18th. These homes were inspected about 45 times. So when we look at the homes, we typically have to provide a supportive measure. So there's compliance orders, there's a number of more serious issues if there is outright neglect. And we work with the homes to support the staff and make sure that they can provide the standard of care to the residents. But we've been in a staffing crisis with our personal support workers for years. This has been an ongoing issue, and it was something that our long-term care ministry was addressing through an expert panel to understand how we could help our homes have the right supports, get the proper amount of staff. But this is an ongoing issue, and it will have to be addressed in terms of how we get the staffing that is needed into our homes.
Okay, Premier, I have a question for my colleague David Aiken in Ottawa. He wants to know about what measure you are going to be asking the federal government to help when it comes to long-term care facilities, and what are you going to tell the Prime Minister when you talk to him?
We need funding. We can't do it alone. No province can do it alone. We need their support. If we want to change the system, a broken system that's been around for decades, we need money. That's what it comes down to. If we get the funds, then we can make some massive changes. But we need the money often.
Next question. Next question comes from Brian Lilly from the Toronto Sun. Please go ahead.
Premier, you've said that you'll stand by your Minister of Long-Term Care. You haven't ruled out pulling licenses or taking over more homes, but I want to know about the other part you haven't discussed, and that's the bureaucracy. Many of the people in charge of the long-term care file right now have been there for years. Your current Deputy Minister of Health, Helen Angus, was Associate Deputy Minister from 2012 to 2014, almost 3 years in charge of long-term care when there were many problems. Stacey Kolomenko, who is in charge of inspections right now, has been in an inspections role for years and years. Brian Pollard, Assistant Deputy Minister, same thing. These people have overseen the rot that's been going on. Do you need to have a shakeup, and does there need to be accountability for bureaucrats that have not fixed the problem, or perhaps have hidden the problem? They're part of the issue. Will you deal with that side of the equation?
Well, again, when that's through our review, that's going to come up, and people will be held accountable. Brian, right now, the system has been broken for decades, as you acknowledged, and in other areas in the government. When a pandemic hits, no matter here in the government or in the private sector as well. I've talked to so many private sector folks saying, hey, we can do things differently. We can do things more efficiently. We can digitize the province, which we're going to be doing. And there's a lot of changes that need to be done.
Permit. Right. Can I print my own trip permit,
those changes happen. We're going to have a better system at the end of the day. We have three stages, if you want to call it, making sure that we take care of the immediate need of these homes right now. And then the second stage is what are we going to do for the next 3 months? And the last is what are we going to do for the next number of years as these lockups are going to start when the baby boomers come of age to go on these long-term care homes. So we have three areas that we're going to focus on. And part of the commission is going to look at the long-term care of these homes. It's absolutely critical. But we know where the problems are, Brian, and we're going to fix them.
The inspection issue, I want to know if OPSEU, Smokey Thomas, the union representing inspectors, stopped or impeded in any way in-person inspections from starting up again. They stopped for a time when Dr. Williams issued his order, but I have an April 22nd letter where Smokey Thomas wrote to you and Minister Fullerton saying that due to inherent risks to multiple parties from such inspections, this plan is not only ill-advised but not necessary. So did the union get in the way? Did inspectors refuse to go into homes after the government decided that in-person inspections needed to continue?
Well, Brian, I'm just going to lay the chips on the table here. You know, I've been taking bullets every day for the union up here. And, you know, when you said they were doing, or not you, but when I've been asked about, they were doing telephone calls for inspections.
He doesn't even realize it's not a normal thing to say. He's from the rack.
The truth of the matter is, they were refusing to go into these homes. And I want to qualify something. I think the world of Smokey Thomas. I have a great deal of respect for Smokey Thomas. But sometimes it's difficult, sometimes it's difficult to deal with the provincial staff, as you were just mentioning, which I don't have a big issue with, but sometimes he might have challenges. I haven't asked him that personally, but they refuse to go in. And what you do when you have the union saying they aren't going in the door. And believe me, Smokey's an incredible leader, and thanks to him, they're going back in. So by no means is this Smokey Thomas's problem, but the unions. And you know something? Let me be fair to them too. That's why I'm taking the bullets for them every time people ask me that question. You know, I understand they were scared. This was in April. This was the peak of COVID, and all heck was breaking loose, and they were nervous about their families. They were worried about their health. I get it. You know, they aren't medical professionals, so I understand it. But I'm not going to continue taking bullets for something that there was no control that we had when the unions refused to go in. But I understand their situation. The good news is, out of all this, the good news is, thanks to Smokey's leadership, they're going back in. And they have been going back in. And they're going to continue to go back in. And as for the inspectors, you know, I understand.
Oh, don't cut them off now. No,
and we seem to have lost Premier Doug Ford's feed right there from Queen's Park. We'll try to get that back in just a moment when we can. In the meantime, the Premier saying that the second round of testing in long-term care homes is underway. He says they will do all they can to protect the most vulnerable in this province. And Ontario, he says, at the same time, is going to be renewing the mandate of an incident management system long-term care table. And he says an expert panel and that deals with nursing home staffing levels and infection management will continue there. We will have more on what the Premier had to say coming up at the bottom of the hour.
680 News Time, 123.
Working from home, on the couch, dealing with kids. Yep, this is your new normal. So isn't it time you got a new home office suite? AGMRenovations.com. Turn your basement into a beautiful home office suite from just $4.90 a month. Fully functional. Bathroom, gym, bar, whatever you want in just 3 weeks. Save money, save time, and increase the value of your home. For a virtual consultation, visit AGMRenovations.com.
And by the way, we do bathroom renovations too.
You're listening to Toronto's only all-news radio station. This is 680 News. Canada's chief public health officer says health officials are reviewing plans from sports leagues like the NHL about resuming play or even choosing Canadian cities as hub cities for games. Dr. Teresa Tam says the National Special Advisory Committee on COVID-19 is taking a look at some of the strategies from leagues, and the safety of Canadians, of course, is a top priority.
So, as with any resumption of activities, be it sports, or professional sports, we're looking at, well, what guidance needs to be in place to protect any potential risk to the Canadian population.
And Dr. Tam also notes that a strict 14-day quarantine rule remains in effect for all travelers entering Canada, including professional athletes. Well, coming up in 60 seconds, we've got Irene Precklin standing by with the latest in business.
680 News Time, 125.
Johanna has joined the call.
Hey guys, how's everyone doing today?
Oh, hey, Johanna. Wow, is that a new rug in your living room?
Yeah, it is. I was at Area Rug Shop on the weekend and found the perfect rug for my space.
Looks great in there. I'm amazed at what a difference a rug can make in that space.
Me too. I was really impressed by the service I got at Area Rug Shop.
Andy has joined the call.
Oh, sorry I'm late.
Oh, so
Johanna, is that a new rug?
Area Rug Shop showrooms are now open 7 days
Yeah,
a week.
rug could be outdoor rug for a
At
little while.
arearugshop.ca.
The car today, a much better way to sit on
Now, see here, I'm not an expert on buying a car and all, and I appreciate that, I really do. But don't you suppose that maybe, just maybe, everybody could use a little help like Jerry here?
Well, she told me it was easy. I went to OntarioCars.ca, and don't you know, I fell in love with a beauty.
See, look up OntarioCars.ca to find sellers you can trust. Don't worry, you can do just fine.
News time, 1:26.
Time now for the 680 News Business Report. We're going to check in at the Business Center with Irene Precklett. Chris McCusker is in this morning. And Irene, I'm going to regret probably asking this.
Yes.
But what's between your bones?
Well, Steve, funny you should ask that because it is National Burger Day, and according to the Canadian Consumer Trend Report, about 37% of us eat a burger at least once a week, so it's big business. 89% of us prefer our burgers grilled versus fried. About a quarter of us, which would be me, would consider a plant-based burger because we're vegetarians. And what's between the bun? Well, when it comes to toppings, lettuce is topped, followed by tomatoes, ketchup, and mustard. In more serious business news, TD and CIBC setting aside record amounts for soured loans in the fiscal second quarter, bringing total provisions for Canada's 6 biggest banks to $10.9 billion. This as they brace for the coronavirus pandemic's economic aftermath. TD reporting the biggest set-asides among the country's large lenders, earmarking a whopping $3.22 billion, while CIBC's figure was $1.41 billion. The bank's building up reserves in anticipation of expected stresses to consumers and companies from the outbreak, which of course has brought the North American economy to a virtual standstill and has boosted unemployment on both sides of the border. Taking a look at markets on both sides of the border, the TSX is up 61 points to 15,333, on track for a 5th consecutive winning session. In terms of where we're seeing the gains, they're pretty broad-based. It includes gold and energy stocks, but the drag for the TSX, those financial stocks, including shares in TD, which are down $1.58, shares in CIBC down $1.17. Those two banks, of course, reporting their earnings today. On Wall Street, the Dow is up 163 points to 25,710. The S&P 500 climbing 29. The Nasdaq is higher by an even 100 points. Crude futures up now $1.17 to $34 a barrel. That is a gain of more than 3.6%. At one point, crude futures were negative after the latest U.S. oil inventory report, which showed an increase in supplies. Gold is up just over $4 to $17.31.20 an ounce, and the Canadian dollar is valued at 72.69 cents U.S. That's lower by 3/100ths of a cent. So to recap, the TSX is higher by 60 points, and the Dow is up 170. At the 680 Business Center, I'm Irene Precklett.
During the pandemic, obtaining authentic personal protective equipment can be a serious challenge. Protect yourself, your employees, and customers with PPE from SteriPro.ca. SteriPro.ca is proudly Canadian-owned and operated and offers masks, gloves, face shields, and more for you and your business needs. With stock available now, it's never been easier to protect your business. Order today, shipped today. Visit SteriPro.ca. That's STERI Pro.ca.
If you've got conference calls scheduled between serving lunch, teaching, and working out, we get it. We can't help with everything, but we can make sure your family is protected. RBC Insurance is here to help you get it. Book an insurance check-in at rbcinsurance.com/check-in.
Traffic reports every 10 minutes on the ones.
Traffic alerts at once. This
is 680 News.
Taking a look now at Denise Andriachi's forecast. We are looking at some light rain continuing this afternoon with a guaranteed high of 24. Factor in the humidity, though. It should feel like 30 this afternoon. For tonight, expect some lingering showers, a low down to 16. Tomorrow, some rain to start the day and a little cooler with a high of 22. And then as we head into Saturday, plenty of sunshine, 22. Sunday, a little cooler though, and 17. Right now in downtown Toronto, we've got some light rain and now 21 degrees. 680 News Time at the Double Tones. 1:30.
Number one for
news in Toronto. This is 680 News.
Here are Sarah Barrett and Steve Roberts. Good afternoon. It's Thursday, May 28th.
And good afternoon. Here's what's making news this hour.
The province extends the mandate for a team in charge of helping long-term care homes through the COVID-19 pandemic as we see a new surge in cases across Ontario. The rapid expansion of Toronto's cycling network as a response to the COVID-19 pandemic is the main item on the agenda as Toronto City Council holds another virtual meeting. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is co-hosting a United Nations forum aimed at coordinating global efforts to deal with the social and economic devastation being caused by COVID-19. A Scarborough metal sculptor is using his art and his lawn to try to spread positivity. At first there was love. He planted signs in the grass with uplifting words to raise spirits during the pandemic. Foligno says players will have to train their minds as well as their bodies.
Why would you shit?
Yeah, but why could you shit on that? 45.
Broad-based gains for the TSX on track for a fifth consecutive winning session, higher by 68 points. The Dow up 180 points, and the Loonie is a little changed. Business at 56.
680 News Time, 1:31.
Time for traffic and weather together on the one. Here's Carrie Prunskis. This report is brought to you by TSC. And down came the rain. It is definitely slowing things down on the major routes across the city. We have a problem as well. Well, a few problems. Northbound on the Don Valley Parkway at Bloor, the right lane is blocked because of a stalled vehicle. So traffic is jammed on the northbound DVP from just north of the Gardner up to Bloor. Once you're past Bloor, it's moving well. Westbound on the 401 approaching Bayview and the Express, the right lane is blocked. This is because of a stalled truck. So traffic is jammed on the westbound 401 from the 404 to Bayview and the Express, and it's slow going from approaching Bayview to west of Yonge in the Collectors. But other than that, westbound 401 delay, it's moving well. Now on the eastbound 401, that's getting busy from approaching Winston Churchill right through to Mavis. Across the city, a bit of a bunch up as well from Islington over to the 400 Express and Collectors. And southbound on the DVP, the ramp to southbound Don Mills, that's closed off because of a collision. Thankfully, only a minor delay here, but again, no access southbound DVP to southbound Don Mills. Northbound on the 427 at Rathburn and the Express, the right lane is closed for road work. Heavy rainfall happening through here, so northbound 427 is barely moving from Dundas to Rathburn and the Express. And southbound on the 427, the express ramp to the QEW, that's partially blocked for construction. It's backed up from Dundas in the Express. TSC has big deals, little time. This Saturday for 2 hours only. Check out special offers starting at 10 a.m. You don't want to miss this. Shop TSC.ca. And now with the forecast, here's Denise Andriachi. Periods of rain through the day today. Special weather statements have been issued by Environment Canada. It is an unsettled day after hot, sticky, and sunny conditions to start off this week. There's still a chance of showers as we move through the night tonight. Lows near 18. You're guaranteed high today, 24.
All right, some heavier rain now in downtown Toronto, 22 degrees, and we got some rain and 22 as well. I'm at Pearson. 680 News Time, 1:33.
Long-term care top of mind once again during Premier Ford's daily briefing, with Ford announcing he's extending the mandate of an expert panel that deals with things like nursing home staffing levels and infection management.
It comes as we see a jump in new COVID-19 cases today, following at least 2 days of lower numbers across this province. Our Stuart McGinn is following what the Premier had to say today and joins us live now with the very latest. Stuart?
Steve, 383 new cases representing another single-day spike, but it comes as testing numbers continue to increase with nearly 18,000 completed yesterday. Still, the 7-day trend for new cases is heading downwards, while 34 new deaths were confirmed in the province. Ontario's Minister of Health, though, saying today's increase of cases is due to the province entering stage 1 and the government is comfortable with today's number. Looking at the fatalities, though, we know the majority of them have come from long-term care homes. And today, Premier Doug Ford announced an extension of the mandate for what's called the Incident Management System Long-Term Care Table, a team he says has been getting results since their inception in April.
Positive tests for COVID-19 among residents have gone down to single digits. We've completed testing in all of our homes and the second round is well underway.
With these steps, the province is ready to respond to any surge in cases across long-term care homes. The province's Minister of Long-Term Care further explained the percentage of positive cases in these facilities has dropped to 7.5% from 12.5% at the beginning of the month, while 164 home outbreaks have been resolved. Reporting live, Stuart McGinn, 680 News.
680 News Time, 1:35. Another virtual city council meeting today with councillors expected to vote on a plan to expand Toronto's bike lane network. It's all part of the city's active TO program. 680's Momin Qureshi is monitoring the meeting for us, and he joins us live with more. Momin.
The
meeting just getting set to resume momentarily, Sarah, as councillors were on break for lunch for about an hour. They're back now, just sort of showing up at their virtual meeting. Now, this is the second virtual meeting council has had since the pandemic began. The top of the list thing they're talking about today is the active TO cycle plan. That's a plan to build up 15 kilometers of cycle track rapidly along Bloor and Danforth, some of it along University. Now, initially it was just to expand the cycle network for the typical reasons you would hear. But now, because of the pandemic, the thinking is that they can build up these separated bike lanes as quickly as possible. It'll encourage people to get on their bikes, maybe stay off transit, create more room for physical distancing and lessen the spread of COVID-19. Councillor Brad Bradford, who was a former city planner, says he was in favor of this before, but especially now.
We are in the midst of a fundamental paradigm shift. Things will look different in the months and years ahead. We need to understand that, and as government, respond accordingly. That is real leadership.
But not every councillor is on board with this. Councillor Stephen Holiday really pushing back against this idea. Councillors getting back to the meeting right now. They'll continue talking about this and vote on it fairly soon. Reporting live, I'm Momin Qureshi.
Well, city officials, though, were busy painting circles at Trinity Bellwoods Park this morning, encouraging visitors to remain physically distant. Mayor John Tory telling City News today the move comes after thousands of people crowded into that park last Saturday and ignored the rules.
You had people sitting shoulder to shoulder. These were clearly not people related to each other or people who live with each other. So that is something that contributes to the spread of the virus. These circles, as we can see from the experience elsewhere, actually help people to enjoy the park, but to sit separately, as they're supposed to do under the rules, which is meant to stop the spread of the virus, nothing more and nothing less.
Now, the circles are essentially being placed 10 feet apart on the grass and can fit 3 people sitting cross-legged or even 2 people lying down. Now, similar circles have been painted at parks in New York City and even San Francisco.
Toronto's police chief has released a statement on the death of a 29-year-old woman who fell from a 24th floor balcony in High Park. Chief Mark Saunders says he knows the incident has caused a great deal of concern, and he says Toronto police will be fully cooperating with the Special Investigations Unit. The SIU says an autopsy is being conducted today. Police responded to a domestic dispute call just after 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon at the building. A short time later, the woman fell to the ground and was pronounced dead at the scene. The police watchdog says it's aware of allegations being made by certain relatives of the victim and wants to talk to anyone with more information. The city councilor for that neighborhood, Gordon Parks, says he'll be watching the investigation closely because her family deserves answers.
Well, York Regional Police have now charged a Newmarket man with impaired driving after another driver called 911 to report a vehicle moving in and out of lanes in Aurora on Sunday night. So an officer stopped the vehicle, though they found a small child in the back seat.
DP-18 has one under arrest for impaired driving, and we have a small 6-year-old girl that was in the car. She's in my cruiser right now. She's scared. We'll let you know more in a minute.
And it turns out that child was actually 4 years old. The 34-year-old man was arrested, and police say the child is now safe and was picked up by its mother.
And the Prime Minister kicked off a United Nations forum aimed at tackling the social and economic impacts from this pandemic. 680's Parliament Hill reporter Cormac McSweeney has more.
This is truly a global challenge.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau opened the virtual conference, which Canada's co-hosting with Jamaica, with a speech calling for a coordinated international strategy to help the global economy recover from this pandemic. He notes the health crisis is a stark reminder of how interconnected we are, and this is an opportunity to emerge from this crisis as a stronger and more cohesive world.
One that creates growth for everyone, addresses inequality, and cares for the most vulnerable.
The UN estimates without such a plan, the pandemic could slash nearly $8.5 trillion from the world economy and force 34 million people into extreme poverty. Meanwhile, the federal government also expected to face questions today about possible retaliation from China after Huawei executive Meng Wanzhou lost her attempt to halt extradition hearings to the states. And later today, the Prime Minister will have a conference call with premiers to discuss paid sick leave and disturbing problems in long-term care facilities. Both are provincial responsibilities, but Trudeau has promised federal support. Cormac McSweeney, Parliament Hill.
Well, you know, there is pretty much a day for everything out there right now. Today, by the way, as you may have heard earlier, is National Burger Day. 680's Irene Precklett telling us now what's on the menu.
Canadians love their burgers. Perhaps that's what you are dishing out for dinner. According to the Canadian Consumer Trend Report, about 37% of us eat a burger at least once a week. 89% prefer the burgers grilled versus fried. About a quarter of us would consider a plant-based burger. And what's between the bun? Well, when it comes to toppings, lettuce is tops, followed by tomatoes, ketchup, and mustard. Firing up the grill, I'm Irene Precklett. And now the 680 News gas price update. Enpro predicts the price will drop 3 cents at midnight to 92.9 cents a liter.
680 News time, 1:40.
Are you using a filter? Your skin looks amazing. Nope, just my IT Cosmetics CC cream from TSC. I want that glow. Go to tsc.ca. They have amazing deals every day on all our favorite brands. Is it just fashion and beauty? Home and electronics too. I got Apple AirPods, a Dyson vacuum, and Curtis Stone cookware, all delivered right to my door. I'm going to tsc.ca right now.
Discover today's showstopper offers at today's shopping choice. Shop tsc.ca.
680 News time, 1:41.
Time for traffic and weather together all the ones. Here's Carrie Pruskus. This report is brought to you by Skip the Dishes. Northbound on the Don Valley Parkway at Bloor, the right lane is blocked because of a stalled vehicle, so traffic is jammed solid on the northbound DVP from the Gardner up to Bloor. But it's a great drive once you're past that problem. Now, westbound on the 401, approaching Bayview on the Express, that stalled vehicle was just removed. So the westbound 401 is still heavy from the 404 to Bayview in the Express, and a slow go from approaching Bayview to Young in the collector lanes. Heading into Mississauga, though, the westbound 401 looks pretty good. It's the eastbound 401 that's quite busy through Mississauga. Delays on and off from Trafalgar all the way through to Mavis, and then it bunches up again on the eastbound 401 from the 427 to the 400 express and collectors. Southbound on the Don Valley Parkway, the ramp to southbound Don Mills, that's closed because of a collision, so it's a bit busy as well on the southbound DVP. Gets jammed up as you approach Don Mills, and again, no access to southbound Don Mills. If you're leaving the city on the westbound Gardner, it's moving well from the DVP all the way up to the 427. Northbound on the 427, that's heavy from Dundas to Radford and the Express. That's where the right lane is closed for construction. And southbound on the 427, on the Express ramp to the QEW, the right lane is closed for road work, so it's busy from Dundas and the Express. Also seeing a delay on the eastbound QEW from Coffra to the 427. Approaching the 427, the right lane is closed for road work. Canadians are hungry to help. When you order with Skip the Dishes, you're helping support local restaurants. And you can tip your favorite restaurants through the Skip the Dishes app. And now with the forecast, here's Denise Andriachi. Periods of rain through the day today, the remnants of a tropical system making its way into the GTA. So special weather statements have been issued up to 40 millimeters expected. We could see a little bit of ponding and pooling on the roads. So just take it easy and drive according to the weather conditions for today and tomorrow. More showers expected Friday with the chance of thunderstorms. Your guaranteed high today, 24.
And right now downtown, some heavier rain in the city's core right now at 22 degrees, light rain and 21 at Pearson. 680 News Time, 1:43.
Now the Scotia iTrade Market Minute, live from the Business Center. Here's Irene Precklett. And Sarah, the TSX continues to be in positive territory, on track for a fifth consecutive winning session of 65 points to 15,337. The gains are pretty broad-based. The notable exception continues to be banking stocks, with the last two of Canada's 6 big banks reporting earnings today. On Wall Street, the Dow is up 192 points to 25,738. The S&P 500 advancing 30 points, while the Nasdaq is higher by 111. That is the largest percentage gain of the 4 indices. Crude futures up $1.30 to $34.11 a barrel, a gain just shy of 4%. Gold trending earlier gains. It's now up just under $1 to $17.2750 an ounce. The Canadian dollar sits at 72.68 cents US. At the Business Center, I'm Irene Franklin.
Direct invest with Scotia iTrade. Get started in 3 easy steps and begin your investing journey from home today. Learn more at scotiaitrade.com.
The safety of those around you is more important than ever. The government of Canada has stated that.
I can't believe this shit. How do I make you repeat this shit?
Late in the afternoon for the forecast. The Environment Canada forecast issued at 11:06 a.m. Thursday, May 28th for today and Friday. City of Toronto for today. Periods of rain. Local amounts 15 to 25 millimeters.
Not 20.
High
25.
24. Humidex 29. UV index 3 or moderate. For tonight, periods of rain ending this evening, then cloudy with 30% chance of showers. Low 17. For Friday,
It's raining,
mainly
just
cloudy.
on and on. It's
Showers
raining.
beginning early in the afternoon.
More showers.
Risk of a thunderstorm in the afternoon. Wind becoming south 20 kilometers per hour, gusting to 40 in the morning, then west 30, gusting to 50 late in the afternoon. High 24, humidex 27, UV index
How many millimeters?
7 or high. Extended forecast, Friday night, cloudy with 60% chance of showers. Low 12. For Saturday, sunny. High 18.
Hold on, you can tell me 15 to
For
25
Saturday
millimeters
night,
today. You
clear.
can't tell me tomorrow.
Low 6. For Sunday, sunny. High 17. For Sunday night, clear. Low 7. For Monday, sunny. High 19. For Monday night, clear. Low 8. For Tuesday, a mix of sun and cloud. High 19. For
What? 8 and then 19? Are you fucked up? I think your weather forecaster is broken. No, I think the weather is broken. Rain, rain, rain ends, followed by rain. What the fuck? You really want me to send it out like that, boss? Yes, damn it. That's what the fucking stars are telling us, right?
Today, I'm fed up with the losing and I'm frustrated. It's not an easy pill to swallow right now. It's been a tough past couple of months and a tough past 5 years. It adds to the frustration that you can't get to a 24-team playoff. Well, he says the ante is going to be up so much more, knowing you only have 5 games to get your team into the next round. Columbus Blue Jackets captain Nick Foligno on Good Show this morning and said if we do go back, the mind is the one we'll have to train the best to get back into that mindset of what you have to do to be successful. Columbus will take on the Maple Leafs in the play-in round. Leon Draisaitl is the NHL's Art Ross Trophy winner. The Edmonton Oilers forward racked up 110 points in 71 games. The Boston Bruins are the President's Trophy winners as the team with the league's best record. And the Premier League has set a provisional return date of June 17th with Manchester City hosting Arsenal and Sheffield United visiting Aston Villa. These are the 2 games in hand. All 92 remaining matches will be played without fans. Sports at 15 and 45 past every hour or anytime at sportsnet.ca/590.
Milk is there when you're baking to keep the kids busy.
No,
And the tea
Justin made us dump it down the drain.
Isn't the recipe you call your mom for when you just wanted to catch up? And the treats you indulge in while catching up on your favorite show. It can let you decorate with the precision of an artist. Even when your kids have the precision of a bulldozer. It's in that creme brulee that settles smoke alarm. And those cupcakes you baked that were straight fire. So if milk can do all that, just a balance with and word, what can't milk do?
MLSC is a company that creates spectacles and extraordinary moments.
Yeah,
today we are a community that has rallied our employees and partners
to come together to create and deliver up to 10,000 meals a day to frontline workers in local shelters within the GTA.
What I said, but not the people staying in the shelters.
Until we play
What shelters? Isn't everybody in a hotel now?
more at BreakTorontoBack.com.
680 News Time 149.
There's some promising news from a study that's trying to determine if a transfusion of plasma donated by recovered COVID-19 patients can reduce deaths and speed up recovery. The first 2 COVID-19 patients in Canada to receive plasma transfusions rich in antibodies are showing signs of improvement. One is out of intensive care and the other is expected to make a full recovery. The experimental treatment is expanding to at least 20 hospitals by this weekend. Well, England and Scotland are stepping up contact tracing efforts to stem the spread of the virus.
A team of some 25,000 tracers are gearing up to text, email, or call people in contact with someone who's tested positive for COVID-19. Those people will be asked to self-isolate for 14 days. Health Secretary Matt Hancock.
It's legally not mandated at this stage because we think it's far better if as a country we pull together and do this and everybody follows the instructions.
Meanwhile, work on a complimentary smartphone contact app continues.
What human beings are doing.
ABC News, London.
680 News Time 150. Well, demonstrators have taken to the streets of Minneapolis once again following the death of a black man in police custody.
The protests that began Wednesday night have continued and have become the most destructive yet since the death of George Floyd, who was seen gasping for breath during an arrest in which an officer kneeled on his neck for almost 8 minutes. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey has been urging people to leave the scene of the protests and has asked the governor to activate the National Guard. I'm Mike Hempton. 680 News Time 151.
Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Carrie Pruskus. This report is brought to you by TELUS. Northbound on the Don Valley Parkway at Bloor, the right lane remains closed. It's because of a stalled vehicle, and traffic is barely moving on the northbound DVP from the Gardner up to Bloor. It's really jammed through this stretch, so consider an alternate route. Right now, anything would be moving better. You can use northbound Broadview, northbound River, that goes on to the Bayview Extension. It's also busy on the northbound DVP from Eglinton up to York Mills. Now, the westbound 401, we had an earlier problem approaching Bayview and the Express, so delays are spreading out on this route. It's slow going westbound 401 anywhere from the 404 to Avenue Road, alternately express and collectors. And it's also filling in heading into Mississauga from here, Ontario, on the collectors to west of Mavis. Eastbound 401, that's busy approaching Winston Churchill right through to Mavis, and it bunches up again through Dixie and the collectors. Also a delay eastbound 401 from the 427 to the 400, express and collectors. Southbound on the Don Valley Parkway, good news, that problem on the ramp to southbound Don Mills has fully cleared, and so that ramp is wide open again on the southbound DVP. It looks like delays have improved. Westbound QEW, there's no access to that route from West Mall or Evans Avenue. That ramp to the westbound QEW still closed off for construction. And on the eastbound QEW, it's a little bit slow approaching the 427. The right lane is closed for road work. Northbound on the 427 at Rathburn in the Express, the right lane is closed for construction. A heavy delay northbound 427 from Dundas to Rathburn, but just in the express lanes. When connections matter most, Canada's wireless download speeds continue to be the world leading, 40% faster than this time last year. Visit telus.com/network. And now with the forecast, here's Denise Andriachi.
Periods of steady rain this afternoon with still the chance of showers lingering tonight. Through the day on Friday, some scattered showers and thunderstorm potential, highs near 22. The weekend looks fantastic. Lots of high pressure, sunshine, temperatures a little cool, a little below seasonal, but still comfortable in the upper teens. Saturday, near 18 degrees, and Sunday, highs near 17. Keep your eyes to the skies and an umbrella handy today. Your guaranteed high 24. And right now in downtown Toronto, we've got some light rain. We're sitting at 22 degrees. It feels like 25, so just a bit of humidity. At Pearson Airport, light rain, also 22. A little more humid. We have a humidex of 28. 680 News Time 153.
This extended forecast is brought to you by NorthTorontoAuction.com. New website, new way of doing business. Online only auctions tomorrow and Saturday with light to heavy equipment and pre-owned vehicles. Register at NorthTorontoAuction.com.
Asking for help isn't always easy, but getting it should be. At Scotiabank, it's easy to apply for financial relief for you or for your business. You can quickly request a payment deferral online or access other financial support options. Or we can talk together about a personalized plan that will help you both today and tomorrow. Visit Scotiabank.com/relief to learn more. Scotiabank.
680 News Time, 1:54. A metal sculpture artist in Scarborough is using his front lawn to spread a positive message to his neighbors. He's built a small installation on the grass with messages he hopes will give people comfort during this time. 680's Kevin Meisner explains.
In the shade of two large trees here near St. Clement Birchmount, white letters standing about 3 feet high spell out the word love on Gregory Robbins' lawn. Robbins says with more people out for walks these days, he wanted to raise their spirits with his art.
At first there was love, and then I started bringing out some of my sculpture. It just kind of grew, so it's been growing, and I don't think it's going to stop.
He's added several smaller signs that read faith, courage, believe, and trust. Robbins says people stop to thank him all the time, even dropping notes in his mailbox.
It's just been continuous, especially when I'm out front cutting the lawn. Like, I mean, people just keep coming by, but obviously keeping their distance.
Robbins has a surprisingly optimistic view of this challenging time.
I think after this is all done, we're going to be much better people than we were before.
You're St. Clair and Birchmount. I'm Kevin Meisner.
Well, coming up in business news in 60 seconds, the pandemic is changing how many of us pay for things. 680 News Time, 1:55.
Diligence.
Adjournment.
Constructive dismissal.
Blah, blah, blah. A lot of people expect a meeting with a lawyer to sound something like that. But at Rudner Law, our team will provide the clear, practical advice that you need. My name is Stuart Rudner, and right now, the employment relationship is more complicated than ever. Whether you are an employer or an employee, we will help protect your rights.
HR lawyers, employment lawyers, workplace lawyers, whatever you call them, you'll be glad you did. RudnerLaw.ca.
I'm John Pretty, president of 2 Minute Truck Canada. All of us are doing our best to stop the spread of coronavirus, and we know it hasn't been easy, especially for our frontline workers who are keeping us safe. Thank you to our tireless healthcare workers, everyone in essential services, and you, our customers, for staying home and helping stop the spread. We are committed to moving our communities forward, using the tools we have to keep our customers and employees safe. We are here if you need us. Learn more at 2minutetruck.ca.
Hey, you know, hold on.
156.
Now the 680 News Business Report. Here's Irene Franklin. Sarah, experts say the COVID-19 pandemic could accelerate the transition to cashless payments. The Bank of Canada says the shift away from the banknote has been ongoing for more than a decade. And if some businesses that are reopening during the pandemic are now going completely cashless. They include Best Buy, the shoe company, even some grocery stores. But the central bank is warning that refusing to accept cash while legal further hurts some of society's most vulnerable. Roughly 1% of Canadians do not have a debit card, and one expert says the number of people who can't or don't use credit cards is even higher. And as the popularity of online and mobile payments rises, the cost of mobile data plans also factors in. On the markets, the TSX on track for a 5th consecutive winning session, higher now by 57 points, sitting at 15,328. So it's a very modest advance. The gains are pretty broad-based. However, banking stocks continue to be the drag. And gold stocks, which have been the leading advancer, really seeing that change. It's been a bit of a reversal for gold and oil today. So gold started off the session higher, now slightly negative. It's only down 30 cents. We're sitting at $17.2650 an ounce. And oil, which had been lower, is now up $1.26 to $34.07 a barrel. That's a gain of more than 3.8%. Energy stocks are among those that are positive for the TSX. On Wall Street, the Dow is up 186 points to 25,734. The S&P 500 higher by 32, while the NASDAQ is up by 92 points. Percentage-wise, the S&P 500, the biggest gainer. The Canadian dollar sitting at 72.66 cents U.S. That is down 6/100ths of a cent. So to recap, the TSX is up 50 points, and the Dow is now up 188. And at the 680 Business Center, I'm Irene Franklin.
When you get FX, you get more than just the channel. You also get FX Now. With FX Now, you can stream over 30 FX original series, thousands of episodes, anytime, anywhere. Binge award-winning series like Atlanta and American Horror Story. Watch current hits like
I'll do that on my radio.
And past favorites like Sons of Anarchy. The best shows are on FX Now. Contact your cable provider and order
Everybody
FX
listening to this is
now.
giving up on TV.
Water came through, shorted out the furnace, the radiator too.
Hey, stuff happens. And when you need money now, I mean right now, there's PrudentFinancial.net.
If you need money in a hurry, PrudentFinancial.net.
Self-employed, no proof of income required. Bad credit or any proposal are welcome too. If you own your car or home, you get a loan in minutes. Borrow up to $50,000.
At least the pattern on my legs is getting more consistent.
For details.
Wherever there's no, well, there's
Weather
spots
forecast
everywhere.
in Bangkok, because if we're off by more than 3 degrees,
You could win our growing cash jackpot. The 680 News Weather Guarantee. Enter online at 680news.com.
take a look at some regional weather conditions. Pickering right now, cloudy sky, 21 degrees. Rain, 22 in Oakville. In Newmarket, it's cloudy and 23. Niagara Falls, some light rain and 21. Downtown Toronto right now, we have light rain. It's 22 degrees. The News Watch never stops. 680 News is CFTR AM Toronto. It's 2 o'clock.
Number one for breaking news, traffic, and weather. This is 680 News, Toronto.
Here are Steve Roberts and Sarah Paris.
Good afternoon. This is Thursday, the 28th of May.
Good afternoon. Here's what's making news this hour.
COVID-19 cases in Ontario jump again, but it's a spike officials say they're comfortable with as they extend the mandate for a team leading the charge for long-term care homes.
It's time for another virtual Toronto City Council meeting with Active TO, the plan to expand bike lanes to create more physical distancing space at the top of the agenda.
Happening right now, police are set to provide an update this hour after a Toronto rapper was gunned down on a Toronto street this week.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau kicks off a United Nations conference on COVID-19, calling for a coordinated international strategy to deal with the economic crisis caused by this pandemic.
The NHL hands out some hardware today with the regular season officially over, and the battle brewing between baseball and its players continues. Sports at 15.
Banking stocks are lower, but despite that, the TSX is higher for a 5th straight day. Gold goes from positive to negative, and we're winning on Wall Street. Business at 26.
Take it away like that oil thing? No, you're not. So why do you say that?
680 News Time, 2:01.
Time now for traffic and weather together on the ones. Checking that drive, and it's a wet one this afternoon. Carrie Prunskis.
Oh, you know what that means? Everything's going to slow down on the major routes, which is definitely what I'm seeing right now. This report is brought to you by Volvo of Toronto. And pair the rain with some problems, and we have a lot of jam-ups on the major routes. Northbound on the Don Valley Parkway at Bloor, the right lane is blocked because of a stalled vehicle. So northbound Don Valley Parkway, it's jammed from the Gardner up to Bloor, and then it slows again from Eglinton up to York Mills. Westbound on the 401, that's busy in sections from the 404 to Avenue Road, alternately express and collectors. Slows again from the Allen to Keele in the express, then a delay approaching here Ontario in the collectors to west of Mavis. Eastbound 401, that's heavy from approaching Winston Churchill to Mavis, and it slows again from the 427 to the 400 express and collectors. Looks pretty good though on the eastbound 401 once you're east of the 400. It's very lightly traveled heading into the Durham region as well. Northbound on the 427 at Rathburn in the express, the right lane is closed for construction. Heavy delays on the northbound 427. It's jammed from north of the Gardner in the express and from approaching Bloor in the collectors up to Rathburn, so slightly better in those collector lanes. Southbound on the 427 on the express ramp to the QEW, the right lane is closed for road work. It's backed up from approaching Dundas in the express. And keep in mind, there's no access to the westbound QEW from West Mall or Evans Avenue. That ramp is still shut down for construction. Great news from Volvo of Toronto. Get 3 payments waived when you lease any in-stock 2020 or save an additional $2,000 when you purchase or finance until May 28th. See VolvoofToronto.com for details. And now with the forecast, here's Denise Andriachi. Periods of on and off rain today as we are under special weather statements. It was a hot and sticky stretch of weather here in the GTA. Now slightly unsettled for a couple of days and back to seasonal weather. Overnight tonight, temperatures in the teens with still some showers expected Friday and the chance of thunderstorms. Your guaranteed high today, 24. Right now in downtown Toronto, some light rain. It's 22 degrees. 680 News Time, 2:03.
Another spike in the number of new COVID-19 cases in this province after a bit of a dip yesterday and the day before. It comes as the Ford government announced it plans to extend the mandate of an expert panel that helps to manage long-term care.
680's Stuart McGinn joins us live with the latest details. Stuart.
Sarah, after 2 days of seeing new cases dip below 300, the numbers today shot right back up. 383 new cases confirmed, along with 34 new deaths. But their numbers, Health Minister Christine Elliott says, line up with the start of stage 1. And the government is comfortable with that.
Knowing that it was likely the number of cases were going to increase somewhat with the opening up of the economy.
It also helped that nearly 18,000 tests were completed yesterday. Premier Doug Ford announced continued support for long-term care homes and a team that's been working since April, focusing on staffing levels and infection prevention in those facilities.
We will keep going until the job is done. So today, I'm extending the mandate of that table, and we're seeing results.
Results include positive tests in long-term care homes going down to single digits, while the second round of testing for residents and workers is now underway. Ford said any private long-term care home had a message for them and said it's about taking care of people, not money. And he threatened to remove licenses of any homes that don't improve from here on out. Reporting live, Stuart McGinn, 680 News.
Our police are set to give an update on that fatal shooting of a 21-year-old Toronto rapper downtown. Happened Tuesday afternoon at King Street and Blue Jays Way. The victim has been identified now as 21-year-old DeMargio Jenkins, known as Houdini. And Chief Mark Saunders and Detective Sergeant Andy Singh will address the media. We'll have more on that coming up later this half hour.
Now, the province's police watchdog says an autopsy is being conducted today on a 29-year-old Toronto woman who fell from a 24th floor apartment balcony in High Park. Toronto police officers were called to the building around 5:15 yesterday afternoon after reports of a domestic dispute. The Special Investigations Unit says when officers arrived, they saw a woman on the balcony, and a short time later, she fell to the ground. The woman was pronounced dead at the scene. The SIU says it is aware of allegations made by certain family members of the victim and is looking to speak to anyone with information about those allegations. Chief Mark Saunders says the Toronto Police Service is fully cooperating with this investigation.
Happening right now, Toronto City Councillors are meeting on a virtual basis to vote on the idea of extending the city's bike lane network, all part of Toronto's efforts to open up the roads to cyclists through the pandemic. Our Momin Qureshi has been following along this council meeting on a virtual basis and joins us live now with more. Momin?
It's the only way we can watch it, Steve. Nobody's actually in council chambers right now. All the councillors are at home talking about Active TO, the plan to expand the bicycle network at a more rapid pace across the city. Now, this plan was already in motion, but because of COVID-19, they are now trying to speed things up, in part because they want to give people options of different ways they can get into and out of the downtown core specifically. And the thinking is if you create long stretches of separated bike lanes, people will feel safe enough to jump on their bikes, make the ride into and out of the downtown core, and maybe not take transit as a result, freeing up some space, some physical distancing space to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Most of the councillors are on board with it, but Councillor Stephen Holiday is not.
No matter what you say about the math and the numbers, there are going to be a lot more drivers that are going to suffer enormously because of this, as opposed to any uptake in cycling. And to think that people are going to turn to their bikes and solve all these traffic issues is just unrealistic.
But there are many other councillors who are making these suggestions and a push to make this happen. It looks like this is going to pass, albeit with many motions that are being tabled here. It looks like the vote could be coming fairly soon. Reporting live on the Qureshi.
Well, it may look weird, but circles are now painted on the grass at Trinity Bellwoods Park to help people stay 6 feet apart. The circles are 8 feet wide and spaced 10 feet apart. Mayor John Tory tells City News the markings will help to further illustrate proper physical distancing requirements.
Well, we knew of the example that had been set, I think, in San Francisco and maybe New York, of these circles being put on the ground to help people to understand what social distancing and physical distancing means. And we saw with that scene that was clearly unacceptable from a standpoint of public health or even adherence to the law in the park last week that there was a real challenge for us there. So I guess this is one of the things you can do to help people understand what physical distancing means.
The move comes after thousands of people flaunted social distancing rules at Trinity Bellwoods Park on Saturday. Tory said this is a pilot project and it could be expanded to other parks in the city.
A 34-year-old man from Newmarket has been charged now with impaired driving after reports of a vehicle swerving in and out of lanes, stopping in the middle of an intersection, and then veering off the road into a ditch. Now, it all happened around 10:30 Sunday night. Officers with York Regional Police trying to pull the car over and get the driver out. road. Police say the driver tried to get away, but officers managed to get to the vehicle and take the man into custody. Officers say there was actually a 4-year-old child in the back seat.
You're going to be under arrest. Turn around. Turn around for me. Turn around. Put your hands on your back. Hold on, the kid let go there. We look after the kid, don't worry.
Now, the child was picked up later by their mother from the police station. The man now facing several charges of impaired driving and trying to flee from a peace officer.
So, should you wear a mask outside? What if it's too hot? Canada's Chief Public Health Officer, Dr. Teresa Tam, shares some mask-wearing advice.
I want to reiterate caution for all Canadians who are currently experiencing heat and humidity in some parts of the country that wearing a mask can make breathing difficult. Therefore, when you are outdoors, maintaining the physical distancing is the key. Extreme heat can worsen pre-existing conditions and breathing difficulties.
She suggests wearing the masks indoors in places where physically distancing is difficult, such as the grocery store.
You're listening to 680 News. Well, experts say that this COVID pandemic could actually accelerate the transition to a more cashless society.
So what's in your wallet? Chances are a lot of plastic. How about cash? The Bank of Canada says the shift away from the banknote has been ongoing for more than a decade, but the pandemic could accelerate the change. Some businesses that are reopening during the pandemic are now going completely cashless. They include Best Buy, the shoe company, even some grocery stores. But the central bank is warning that refusing to accept cash while legal further marginalizes some of society's most vulnerables. Roughly 1% of Canadians don't have a debit card, and one expert says the number of people who can't or don't use credit cards is even higher. At the Business Center, I'm Irene Precklett.
And now the 680 News gas price update. Enpro predicts the price will drop 3 cents at midnight to 92.9 cents a liter.
It's a great time of year to take on those projects you've been thinking about. You see your neighbors doing landscaping, repainting, trimming the trees. Capital Direct can get you started and finish your project with a home equity loan. Could you use $30,000, $40,000, or even $400,000? With rates near historic lows, there's never been a better time to try Capital Direct. You'll have the funds in your bank account within days. Call Capital Direct today at 1-800-NEW-CAPITAL.ca.
680 News time, 2:11.
Time now for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Carrie Prunskis.
This report is brought to you by Metrolinx. A number of routes are slower than what we usually see for this time of the day, thanks to the rain. And we also had some problems northbound on the DVP at Bloor. That right lane just reopened, so that stalled vehicle is out of the way, but it's jammed solid on the northbound DVP from the Gardner to Bloor. You get a break, and then it bunches up again approaching Eglinton to York Mills. And it won't be long before that backup thins out, and then it's going to be a slow go on the northbound DVP pretty much the entire stretch. So consider an alternate route, northbound River onto the Bayview Extension. That's definitely moving a lot better. Westbound on the 401, delays from the 404 to Avenue Road, alternately express and collectors. Slows again from the Allen to Keele in the express, and then bunches up approaching the 400 in the collectors, and into Mississauga. It's busy approaching here Ontario in the collectors to west of Mavis. Eastbound on the 401, a few slow spots. It's jammed up from approaching Winston Churchill to Mavis. Again, as you head through Dixie in the collectors, then slow going from the 427 to the 400 express and collectors. Also seeing delays building on the southbound 400, getting busy from Shepherd onto the 401 ramps. Not too bad of a drive though on the southbound 404 DVP, and the westbound Gardner, that's just starting to fill in from Rogers Center over to about Jameson. Northbound on the 427 at Rathburn in the express, the right lane is closed for construction. A heavy drive northbound 427 from the Gardner in the express, and from Dundas in the collectors up to Rathburn. Also a bit of a slowdown on the southbound 427 from Dundas in the express onto the QEW ramp. That's where the right lane is closed for road work. Steeles Avenue East between Redley Avenue and Silver Star Boulevard is fully closed to vehicles and pedestrians from May 29th at 8 p.m. until June 1st at 6 a.m. Visit Metrolinx.com for more information. And now with the forecast, here's Denise Andriachi. Periods of rain through the afternoon and even into the evening. Still the chance of some showers. Special weather statements have been issued. We could see up to 40 millimeters for pockets of the GTA. The heat warnings have ended. We're just seasonal for the next couple of days. For Friday, still some showers and even the risk for some thunderstorms. Highs near 22. Your guaranteed high today, 24.
And right now in downtown Toronto, some light rain. We're at 22 degrees. At Pearson Airport, lightly raining at 21. With a humid X of 27. 680 News Time, 2:14.
Time now for the Scotia Entree Market Minute. Let's check in at the Business Center. And here's Irene Franklin. Irene?
And Steve, the TSX is seeing its modest advance shrink somewhat. We're now up just 34 points to 15,306. In terms of where we're seeing the gains, they're broad-based. Again, banking stocks continue to be the drag. The last of the two big six reporting earnings today. All of the big banks setting aside big bucks for possible bad loans with the economic downturn. On Wall Street, the Dow is up 159 points to 25,707. The S&P 500 higher by 29, the Nasdaq 79. Crude futures up $1.20 to $34.01 a barrel. Gold is flat at $17.2660 an ounce. The loonie down a tenth of a cent to 72.62 cents U.S. At the Business Center, I'm Irene Franklin.
Direct invest with Scotia iTrade. Get started in 3 easy steps and begin your investing journey from home today. Learn more at scotiaitrade.com.
Super fan with a super deal. Our biggest special deal is on now. Don't pay for 6 months an hour wins. Your safety is our #1 priority. We have masks and gloves ready for you. Our offices are sanitized every hour.
But what if you see more than one person in an hour? You just only once an hour?
No payments for 6 months on Canada's biggest.
Can I be the first person of the hour at least?
Superfan now. Visit mrsagahunda.com or registerhunda.ca. Book your appointment today.
That makes me want 100.
Around you is more important than ever. The government of Canada has stated that the use of a non-medical mask or facial covering can be an additional measure you can take to protect others around you. It's important we keep the supply of medical masks for frontline healthcare workers. CanadaMaskSupply.ca offers personal, non-medical masks and face shields at reasonable prices. Proudly made in Canada for Canadians. Buy non-medical masks and face shields now at CanadaMaskSupply.ca.
Well, I think it's interesting. The only record's going to do what happened.
News Radio, 680 News.
Definitely is a wet one now in downtown Toronto. Some heavy rain and 22 degrees. Good afternoon from the 680 News Broadcast Center. I'm Steve Roberts.
And I'm Sarah Parents. Here are the top stories this hour.
A plan to step up and add more bike lanes to the City of Toronto's network is going before a virtual council meeting, which continues this afternoon. Our moment correction with the latest coming up at 2:30. Ontario reporting 383 new cases of COVID-19 today. New cases represent a jump after several consecutive days with fewer than 300. And Toronto police, it looks like now releasing some new security footage in the shooting death of a Toronto Raptor on a downtown street this week. The 21-year-old known as Houdini was killed in the King and Blue Jays Way area earlier. Time now for 680 Sports and from Sportsnet 590 The Fan. Here's Alex.
Hey guys, good Thursday afternoon. Well, with the NHL regular season now over, the league announced some award winners today. And for the 9th time, Alex Ovechkin takes home the Rocket Richard along with David Pastrnak, as both scored 48 goals on the season. Edmonton's Leon Draisaitl wins his first Art Ross after a 110-point campaign. And the Boston Bruins capture the President's Trophy and the Jennings Trophy. Well, baseball players want their full prorated salaries for the year, and they want a season of more than 100 games. That's expected to be in the union's counter to the league's sliding scale economic proposal is not flying with the PA. The union response is expected by the end of the week. The English Premier League has confirmed they will restart the season June 17th with 2 matches. Arsenal against Manchester City and Aston Villa versus Sheffield United. Seems like the goal is to complete the season by August the 1st, and then we'll see the FA Cup wrapped up. And after being rained out last night, they will try again tonight. NASCAR's race from Charlotte Motor Speedway will get underway at 7 o'clock. Sports at 15 and 45 past every hour or anytime at sportsnet.ca/590.
First, your disability insurer denies your long-term disability claim, and then your employer threatens to fire you if you don't return to work. Sound familiar?
Money is here before, you only get paid for what you actually do. They never heard that before. It's the concept that the games might not happen, never happened before.
Call me at 416-661-4878. And don't worry about legal fees because
the owners of shit weren't expecting to pay out salary if you didn't play a game because they didn't make no money if you didn't play. They got to play a game.
If there are no bad questions, 416-661-4878 or on your cell phone at Panel LTD.
Are you ready for the heat and humidity this summer? FactoryDirect.ca has one of the best selections of brand name air conditioning products in Canada at a fraction of regular retail prices. Whether you're looking for a window or portable air conditioner, small or large fans, air purifiers, or just an inexpensive dehumidifier, we have something that fits your budget. Visit our website at FactoryDirect.ca or one of our 20 stores in Southern Ontario. Don't wait, supplies are limited. Get the products you need today.
680 News Time 219. The Prime Minister kicking off a United Nations forum today aimed at tackling the social and economic impacts of this pandemic. Our Cormac McSweeney has those details.
Calling it an international challenge with many dimensions, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau used his opening speech at this forum to push countries to work together to develop a path forward out of this pandemic.
For the global economy to recover and for our domestic economies to bounce back, we need a global
estimates without an international recovery plan, the pandemic could slash nearly $8.5 trillion from the world economy. On other matters, later today, the Prime Minister will hold a conference call with premiers to discuss the disturbing conditions of long-term care facilities. Trudeau has promised to support the provinces to improve care for seniors, but notes it is provincial jurisdiction. The Prime Minister and his government also expected to face questions today about the recent court loss for Huawei executive Meng Wanzhou, who's fighting extradition to the States. There are fears this legal setback for Ms. Meng could lead to further retaliation from China and put at risk Michael Spavor and Michael Kovrig, the two Canadians being arbitrarily detained. Cormac McSweeney, Parliament Hill.
Well, turns out the COVID-19 pandemic has significantly boosted the approval ratings of most provincial premiers, but not all of them. According to a new poll from the Angus Reid Institute, Blaine Higgs of New Brunswick and Quebec's Francois Legault enjoy the highest approval ratings of 80 and 77% respectively. They're followed by BC's John Horgan, Ontario's Doug Ford, and Saskatchewan's Scott Moe. Only Alberta's Jason Kenney and Manitoba's Brian Pallister scored below 50%. Since February, most premiers have seen an increase in approval between 19 and 35 points. However, premiers of prairie provinces only received a minor bump up.
News Time 221.
It's time now for traffic and weather together on the ones. Kerry Prunskis.
This report is brought to you by Queensway Hyundai. Northbound on the Don Valley Parkway, it is a slow drive. Delays from the Gardner pretty well all the way up to York Mills, just a couple of gaps through that stretch. We had an earlier issue on the northbound DVP at Bloor, so it's much heavier from the Gardner up to Bloor, and then busy sections up to York Mills. Westbound on the 401, it drags through Kennedy and the Collectors. Then we have on and off delays westbound 401 from the 404 to Avenue Road, alternate the Express and Collectors. Slows again from the Allen to Kiel in the Express, and then from west of Kiel to the 400 in the Collectors. Heading into Mississauga, westbound 401, it's busy approaching here Ontario and the Collectors to Mavis. Eastbound on the 401, delays from Winston Churchill to Mavis, through Dixie and the Collectors, and from the 427 to the 400 Express and Collectors. Ongoing construction northbound on the 427 at Rathburn in the Express. The right lane is closed, so it's a heavy backup from Dundas in the Express and from Bloor in the Collectors up to Rathburn. Southbound on the 427 on the express ramp to the QEW, the right lane is closed for construction, so it's busy from Dundas in the Express. Westbound on the QEW, it's moving well through Mississauga, but keep in mind the West Mall and Evans Avenue ramp to the westbound QEW, that's still closed off for construction. Into Oakville, delays westbound QEW from the Ford plant to Trafalgar Road. And if you're getting around on city streets, don't forget that Bathurst is closed in both directions between Fort York and Front. That's for ongoing bridge repairs and TTC track work. Queensway Hyundai is now offering purchase from home solutions or showroom visits by appointment. Last chance for 6-month payment deferral plus 0% lease or finance. Visit queenswayhyundai.ca. And now with the extended forecast, here's Denise Andriachi. Periods of rain through the day today, showers tonight, and showers through the day on Friday, with the risk of some thunderstorm activity Friday. Chance of showers still lingers into Friday night, but we should see some clearing through this weekend. It just looks beautiful. Lots of sunshine, a little fresh for some after the high heat and humidity. Temperatures below seasonal in the upper teens for the weekend. Your guaranteed high today, 24.
Right now in downtown Toronto, some light rain, 21 degrees, same conditions at Pearson Airport.
Coming up at the bottom of the hour, Toronto police now releasing some new security footage in the shooting death of a Toronto rapper on a downtown street this week. We'll have the latest from police headquarters. Ontario also reporting 383 new cases of COVID-19 today. The latest ahead.
City News Time, 2:23.
The government says your workplace must be properly sanitized before your employees return to work. But how can you be sure your workplace passes the test? Call the professionals who can.
Other parts of the world, they're still saying 400.
Cleaning disinfection services are proven to kill all viruses, including COVID-19. For all types of commercial spaces and offices, call Canway, the most effective way to properly sanitize your workplace. Buy one disinfection service and receive another free. Go to CanwayCleaning.com.
Halfway.
From talking to the newsmakers
to getting the
halfway
answers
through,
to what you need to know about COVID-19.
See how you respond. You soldiers, you just here for the paycheck. If you get up and walk out, you're not getting a second.
680 News gets the answers.
We're in this together.
680 News, working for you.
Sanitize
You're
that.
listening to Toronto's only all-news radio station. This is 680 News. A major
This
step
shit really
forward
works.
for the
We
young
really
North
got people
Subway
eating
extension. The
sterilized
provincial
shit.
government and
It's
York Region
go.
have now signed a preliminary agreement to partially
nothing
pay
to you.
for and build the estimated $5.6 billion project. Now, it would essentially see the subway extended about 7.5 kilometers north on Yonge Street from Finch Station to Highway 7 in Richmond Hill.
Oh, why?
Dave Barrow of Richmond Hill saying expanding the subway to a city is a critical missing link in the transit network of Greater Toronto and Hamilton. Well, coming up in 60 seconds, the last of the big six Canadian banks reporting earnings today.
Why would they write
with those
something?
details just ahead.
City News Time, 2:25.
Where's more of
Infinity
it?
of Willowdale
How do you cover
understands
the
that some of
cost
their
of that
customers have been
7.5
impacted as a
kilometers?
result of the pandemic.
With the
Because of
people from
COVID-19,
Richmond Hill that are
Infinity
not
of
going to ride
Willowdale is
subway.
proud
I
to
don't.
present the Infinity
Yeah, I don't
Privilege
ride it.
Program. Current and future Infinity drivers are eligible for payment relief
Why
of up
would
to
they
3
ride it?
lease payments plus 2 years of complimentary
don't get it.
prepaid maintenance or 0% up to 72 months financing option.
Or a
They
lonely
also
subway
offer
driver.
a contactless
Oh, no.
test drive
It's gonna be
experience
automated.
for comfort
Right.
and peace of mind. Focus on what matters most right now. For more details,
You idiots
visit
can't make the normal signals work. They're going to make the
Are you
automated
looking for
signals work.
non-medical face masks? FactoryDirect.ca has one of the best selections of non-medical face masks at some of the lowest prices in Canada. Whether it's disposable, washable, printed, camo, cotton, or your favorite color, we have the face mask to fit your budget and style. FactoryDirect.ca also carries other non-medical products such as hand sanitizer, gloves, face shields, and much, much more. Visit our website at FactoryDirect.ca or one of our 20 stores in Southern Ontario. Don't wait, supplies are limited. Get the products you need today.
City News Time, 2:26.
Time now for the 680 News Business Report. We're going to check into the Business Center with Irene Frecklett. And Irene, this is typically the week where we are seeing a lot of the big banks coming forward with their earnings, and you are now looking at the last two in this group.
Yes, TD and CIBC, Stephen. I think you forgot my name there. That's okay.
Well, you know, you just get so used to our little friend Chris McCusker being here with us in the afternoon.
it's
Chris is in
tax
the
time,
mornings here, and, you know, I'm just tired.
I feel your love. So, Steve, TD Bank Group says its second quarter profits were cut in half after it sharply boosted provisions for credit losses, all due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The bank says it had a profit of nearly $1.52 billion. That is down from $317 billion a year ago. TD says it's boosting provisions for bad loans to nearly $3.22 billion. Last year, the amount $633 million. Adjusted earnings totaling 85 cents per share,
$1 billion
missing the 89
No, it
cents
was
that analysts on
3
average have expected. CIBC missing expectations as its second quarter profit plummeted to $392 million compared to $1.35 billion a year ago. The drop came as the bank's provisions for credit losses also increased more than 5 times from a year ago to $1.41 billion on an adjusted basis. CIBC says it earned 94 cents per share for the quarter. That's well below the $1.58 that analysts had expected. So banking stocks have been the big drag for the TSX for much of the day. Despite the other banks reporting earlier this week with similar provisions for bad loans, financial stocks have been doing relatively well. Not the case today. As a whole, the financials index is down about 1%. The TSX on track for a fifth consecutive winning session. However, we are really seeing that gain scaled back, up now just 20 22 points to 15,293. So we'll see where this ends up. On Wall Street, the Dow is up 131 points. The S&P 500 higher by 27. And the NASDAQ is up 69 points. Crude futures up $1.16 to $33.97 a barrel. Gold down $2, $17.25 an ounce. The loonie at 72.62 cents U.S. Richard Southern is in next at the 680 Business Center. I'm Irene Franklin.
You'll hear it here
First, breaking news when it happens.
on 680 News.
Home has never been more important, and now you're relying on home appliances more than ever. That's why, just like you, Appliance Canada is soldiering on. They've adjusted their services, so all their expertise and products are still available online, by email, or by phone. Right now, you need your appliances to be dependable, and the professionals supplying them even more so. That's why Appliance Canada is doing what they can to keep home feeling like home. With free delivery in the GTA, get started at ApplianceCanada.com. Appliance Canada, for your home, for your life.
We'll get you home with the best local traffic reports on 680 News.
I'm John Pretty, president of Tim and Truck Canada. All of us are doing our best to stop the spread of coronavirus. Especially for our frontline workers who are keeping us safe. Thank you to our tireless healthcare workers, everyone in essential services, and you, our customers, for staying home and helping stop the spread. We are committed to moving our communities forward using the tools we have to keep our customers and employees safe. We are here if you need us. Learn more at 2minutetruck.ca.
It's like slowly.
Taking a look now at your 680 forecast, we are looking at some light rain continuing this afternoon with a guaranteed high of 24 degrees right now in downtown Toronto. It's 22 with some rain. I'm Steve Roberts. Have yourself a great afternoon. It's 2:30. For news in Toronto, this is 680 News.
Here are Sledgena Dominzik and James Monroe. Good afternoon. This is Thursday, the 28th of May.
Here's what's making news right now.
Toronto police releasing more details from their investigation into the daytime shooting in the entertainment district that left a 21-year-old man dead.
A higher number of COVID-19 cases, but officials say it comes in line with stage 1 of reopening, while the province extends the mandate for a team responsible for supporting long-term care homes. Toronto City Council is holding another virtual meeting with Active TO, plan to rapidly expand out the city's bike lane network in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The main item on the agenda. We'll get a Columbus perspective on facing the Leafs in the NHL's play-in round, and the English Premier League will be back in less than 3 weeks. Sports at 45.
Senior care stocks hard hit on Bay Street again following comments from the Premier. The TSX up 23 points. Wall Street on your business at 56.
680 News Time, 2:31.
Traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Gary Prentice. This report is brought to you by TSC. Northbound on the Don Valley Parkway, that's one of the heaviest routes right now. It's jammed up from the Gardner all the way up to York Mills. A combination of the rain and some earlier problems and a lot of volume. Westbound on the 401, that's busy from the 404, alternately express and collectors to about Avenue Road, a bit of a break, and then it bunches up again from the Allen to Keele in the express, and then still going approaching the 400 in the collectors. Into Mississauga, it's busy from here, Ontario, and the collectors to Mavis. Eastbound on the 401, looking at delays from Winston Churchill to Mavis. A little bit of a drag through Dixie in the collectors, then slow as you approach the 427 to the 400 express and collectors. Not too bad, though, once you're east of the 400. Southbound on the 404, that's backed up from just south of Finch onto the 401 ramps. A pretty decent drive, though, on the southbound Don Valley Parkway. Heading out of downtown, westbound on the Gardner, that's filling in quickly from approaching Jarvis to west of Strawn. Northbound on the 427 at Rathburn in the Express. The right lane remains closed for construction. It's backed up from Dundas in the Express and from Bloor in the collectors up to Rathburn. And also watch out on the northbound 427 ramp to Highway 7. The right lane is closed for road work. Southbound on the 427, the express ramp to the QEW is partially blocked for construction, so it's a bit busy getting onto that ramp. And westbound QEW, you can't get to that route from West Mall or Evans Avenue. That ramp to the westbound QEW is still closed for construction. TSC has big deals, little time. This Saturday for 2 hours only. Check out special offers starting at 10 a.m. You don't want to miss this. Shop TSC.ca. And now with the forecast, here's Denise
Goddamn history lesson on the rolling paper package,
rain
man.
today as we are under special weather statements. It was a hot and sticky stretch of weather here in the GTA. Now slightly unsettled for a couple of days and back to seasonal weather. Overnight tonight, temperatures in the teens with still some showers expected Friday and the chance of thunderstorms. Your guaranteed high today, 24.
With rain in downtown Toronto and 21 degrees, but it feels like 27. This is 680 News.
Next closest business is
Toronto police. They're addressing the media about that dramatic daytime shooting in the entertainment district that left a Toronto rapper dead. Video surveillance has been released of the incident showing the lone gunman opening fire on 21-year-old DeMargio Jenkins and two friends.
The group then returned fire moments later with a family, including a child, caught in the crossfire.
The gunfire that was exchanged between these two parties, the two individuals that we believe are associates of Mr. Jenkins and the lone shooter, there was numerous people that were in the neighborhood, in the area. It was a nice, beautiful day. It was 4 p.m. It was broad daylight. And a lot of people's lives could have been put in jeopardy because of what had transpired.
The child, fortunately, was not hurt. A 15-year-old boy and 27-year-old woman also shot during the incident. Jenkins later died in hospital. Police are looking for the shooter and so far recovered 23 shell casings.
Toronto's chief of police has released a statement on the death of a 29-year-old woman who fell from a 24th floor balcony in Hyde Park. Chief Mark Saunders says he knows the incident has caused a great deal of concern and says the Toronto police will be fully cooperating with the Special Investigations Unit. The SIU says an autopsy is being done today. The police watchdog says it's aware of allegations made by family members of the victim and is looking to speak with anyone with information about the allegations. Police responded to a domestic dispute just after 5 yesterday afternoon at the building. A short time later, the woman fell from the 24th floor balcony and was pronounced dead at the scene. Mayor Tory was also releasing a statement saying he fully supports the independent investigation underway by the SIU and is hoping it will provide answers to the public as soon as possible.
Well, 10 or 12, you're pretty sure.
COVID cases as it works to increase the number of tests being carried out daily. Health
officials
say in addition to a boost in testing, these numbers reflect the gradual reopening of the economy. Here's 680 Storm again.
Since April, the Incident Management System long-term care table has been responsible for watching and responding to issues surrounding staffing levels and infection prevention across the province's long-term care homes. Premier Doug Ford announced the extension of that table's mandate, but also had a warning for any privately owned long-term care home where conditions aren't up to par.
It's not about money. It's about taking care of people. And if they want to be greedy and make money, then get out of the business. Go find something else to do.
There is some good news for long-term care homes with a second round of testing underway across those facilities. Positive results are now in the single digits. Numbers did jump across Ontario today, though. There were 383 new cases and 34 deaths. But Health Minister Christine Elliott said that lines up with when Stage 1 began, and the government is comfortable with it.
I think we still need to have another week at least go by to see the numbers before we can contemplate going into Stage 2.
More tests are being completed, with that number close to 18,000 yesterday. I'm Stuart McGinn.
This is 680 News. The federal and provincial governments have been spending big money during the pandemic to help people and businesses. Will there be any money left for promised transit projects then in this province? Premier Doug Ford says no projects will be canceled or postponed, including the promised new subway lines here in Toronto.
We need to continue building these lines for the next 50 years. We just can't stop right now. It's too far down the tracks, excuse the pun, but we're building these 4 lines because we need people to get moving. We need traffic congestion to slow down, people to take rapid transit opposed to hopping in their car.
Ford says building infrastructure is critical to the economy. He says the province is still counting on the federal government's 40% contribution.
City Council meeting online again today, expanding the city cycling network. One of the big topics. 680's Mo McCarthy is following along and joins us live moment.
James, they're actually putting into a vote right now. Will take a while, especially given that this meeting is happening virtually. So normally when they're in council chambers, they'll just push a button to vote each time. It takes about 30 seconds. But in this case, the city clerk has to go one by one through all 25 votes each time there's a motion. So it takes a long time to get through it, but they're going through it right now. They'll have the results pretty soon. Now, this big thing of the meeting that they're voting on right now is the Active TO project that is expanding the cycling network throughout the city along the Bloor Danforth corridor, along University Avenue, and some other places. This was always part of the plan, but the goal now is to expand it rapidly to help with the return from COVID-19 and the pandemic. The thinking being that if you build on a cycling network and you make it safer for riders to ride, that more people will be encouraged to ride bikes, thereby take not take transit as much, create more space for everybody else, physical distancing, less spread of COVID-19. I'll bring you the results of the vote as soon as we have it, which should be coming momentarily. Reporting live, I'm Omen Qureshi.
Circles are now painted on the grass at Trinity Bellwoods Park, all part of a pilot project to help people enjoy the space at a distance. The move comes after thousands broke physical distancing rules at the park on Saturday. Mayor John Tory tells City News this has worked in other municipalities in North America.
It's not meant to be a killjoy. It's just meant to help people understand that you've got to stay apart to prevent yourself, keep yourself healthy, and keep yourself from getting this virus.
If this pilot project is effective, Tory says it could be expanded to other parks in the city.
A UN forum aimed at tackling the social and economic impacts from the COVID pandemic has now officially wrapped up.
This is truly a global challenge.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is leading the charge for a coordinated international strategy to help the global economy recover from this pandemic, especially for developing nations. Trudeau says this is a unique opportunity to emerge from this crisis as a stronger and more cohesive world.
Why do you need to write a ticket to a cab? Anywhere a cab is stopped, just picking somebody up and dropping somebody off.
Other world leaders took shots at U.S. President Donald Trump and his America First policy, saying no single country can go it alone. However, they never mentioned Trump or the U.S. by name. The UN estimates without a global recovery plan, the pandemic could slash nearly $8.5 trillion from the world economy. Meanwhile, we're also expecting the Prime Minister to face questions at his news conference about possible retaliation from China after Huawei executive Meng Wanzhou lost her attempt to halt extradition to the States over fraud charges. Cormac McSweeney, Parliament Hill.
You're with All News Radio 680 News. Canada's chief public health officer says health officials are reviewing plans from sports leagues like the NHL about resuming play or even choosing Canadian cities as hub cities for their games. Dr. Theresa Tam says the National Special Advisory Committee on COVID-19 is taking a look at the strategies from the leagues, and the safety of Canadians is their top priority.
So as with any resumption of activities, be it sports or professional sports, we're looking at, well, what guidance needs to be in place to protect any potential risk to the Canadian population.
So essentially, no, not yet.
Dr. Tam also notes that a strict 14-day quarantine rule remains in effect for all travelers entering Canada, including professional athletes.
Helping you navigate our new world.
And looking forward to when life resumes.
Listen 3, 4, 5 times a day. This is 680 News.
Now the 680 News gas price update. Enpro predicting the price will drop 3 cents a liter at midnight to just under 93 cents.
They may not consider themselves heroes, but Unifor Local 414 points out that across the nation, essential workers, grocery clerks, food delivery workers, truckers, and municipal workers have been risking their health and welfare to keep the rest of us going. By leaving their homes, they are allowing us to stay in ours and help reduce the spread. We thank them. A message of appreciation from Unifor Local 414. Be safe, be smart, be kind.
680 News Time 241.
Traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Carrie Franskis. This report is brought to you by the City of Toronto. Northbound 427 at Rathburn in the Express. The right lane is still closed for construction. It's heavy from Dundas in the Express. Collector lanes are now moving well through here. Delays have eased off in those collector lanes, so stick with those if you can. But again, that northbound 427 construction causing a heavy backup in the Express. Northbound on the Don Valley Parkway, that's busy from Dundas all the way up to York Mills. And the northbound 404 is slow going from Highway 7 to 16th Avenue. Westbound 401, expect delays from the 404 to Avenue Road, alternately express and collectors. Slows again from the Allen to Keele in the express and approaching the 400 in the collectors. And then it bunches up from Islington in the express to Dixon. And slow going into Mississauga from approaching here Ontario in the collectors to Mavis. Eastbound 401, that's really heavy through Mississauga, jammed up approaching Winston Churchill all the way through to Mavis. No problems have been reported, just looks like a lot of volume. And then across Toronto, eastbound 401, it's backed up from south of Pearson in the Express over to the 400, express and collectors. Southbound 400, a delay from Shepherd onto the 401 ramps, and the southbound 404, that's busy from south of Finch onto the 401 ramps. Westbound QEW, a ramp closure to keep in mind. The West Mall and Evans Avenue ramp to the westbound QEW, that's still shut down for construction. And delays westbound QEW from about the Ford plant over to Trafalgar Road. Southbound on the 427, that's a bit busy on the express ramp to the QEW. The right lane closed there for road work. Whenever you can, please shop local to help rebuild Toronto's economy and support local businesses. For more information, visit toronto.ca/COVID-19. And now with the forecast, here's Denise Andriachi.
Periods of rain through the afternoon and even into the evening, still the chance of some showers. Special weather statements have been issued. We could see up to 40 millimeters for pockets of the GTA. The heat warnings have ended. We're just seasonal for the next couple of days. For Friday, still some showers and even the risk for some thunderstorms. Highs near 22. Your guaranteed high today, 24.
Rain in downtown Toronto, 21 degrees, feels like 27.
Now, the Scotia iTrade Market Minute to the Business Center. Here's Richard Southern.
Hey, Swajana, good afternoon. Stocks are continuing to push higher. The TSX right now is up 25 points, trading at 15,297. That's a 3-month high. Wall Street continues to look strong. The Dow adding another 100 points right now to 25,648. S&P up 0.75%, and the Nasdaq up 66 points. Investors continue to believe the worst of the economic damage caused by COVID-19 just may be behind us. Senior care stocks hard hit on Bay Street in the wake of the Premier's comments, and of course, in the wake of that damning report by the Canadian military. We're going to detail that situation coming up in the business report at 56 past the hour. Canadian dollar down at 72.62 cents US. This is 680 News.
Direct invest with Scotia iTrade.
Sure
Get
some
started in
investors
3
are down on
easy
it,
steps
getting
and begin
much
your
worse.
investing journey from home today. Learn more at scotiaitrade.com. Now on CBC Gem.
We used to hook up secretly.
Based on Sally Rooney's best-selling novel.
Don't tell anybody in school this.
I tried to talk to anyone at school.
The series that critics are calling both epic and intimate.
What about now? Would you say your feelings are involved? Or is it obvious to you?
And a triumph in every way.
I did used to think that I could read your mind at times. I don't know, maybe that's normal.
It's not.
Normal People. New series. Now streaming on CBC Gem.
Insurance companies aren't fooled by television actors pretending to be tough lawyers or law firms that claim to be the best, only to sell your case to others. At Bergmanis Pereira, we built our reputation among peers and in the courtroom where it matters. We offer compassionate and dignified legal representation of accident victims. Our experienced lawyers will handle your case personally and see that you get the compensation you deserve. And our no-fee guarantee means that you don't pay until your case is settled. Bergmanis Pereira Personal Injury Lawyers. Time-tested, trial-proven. Visit us at bplawyers.ca.
You're taking on a multi-generational thing. Your kids to pass on to your kids. You got kids, so they don't know school.
Downtown Toronto, 21 degrees. Good afternoon from the 680 News
Somebody willing to
broadcast
fight a
center.
case for like 200 years.
James Monroe, here's what's making news right now.
Toronto police revealing more information today from that investigation into a deadly entertainment district shooting of a Toronto rapper. New video surveillance shows a lone gunman opening fire on the 21-year-old and his 2 friends. That group then returns fire, and a family with a child is caught in the crossfire. Toronto's police chief releasing a statement on the death of a 29-year-old woman who fell from a high-rise balcony in Hyde Park. Chief Mark Saunders says the incident has caused a great deal of concern, and police will be cooperating with the SIU. And coming up after sports, anger boils over in the U.S. with more protests over the police killing of George Floyd.
10-4, 680 Sports.
From Sportsnet 590 The Fan, here's Alex Xero.
Well, Jarmo Kekalainen says he's been optimistic this whole time that the NHL would find its way
That
back.
explains the Volkswagen Tiguan.
through and over a few hurdles so that we could safely start playing. But we're inching towards it. We see the light at the end of the tunnel, something that we need to keep our optimism up, and we're all anxiously awaiting to get back. And this is the first step.
And there was the Columbus Blue Jackets GM on writer's block. It's his team that'll face the Maple Leafs in the 2014 play-in round. Meanwhile, the NHL has named Leon Draisaitl winner of the Art Ross Trophy after his 110-point campaign. Alex Ovechkin and David Pastrnak are co-winners of the Rocket Richard after scoring 48 goals. It's a good day for soccer fans. The English Premier League has been given a green light to return with a pair of matches on June the 17th, while the Italian sports minister says the Serie A will restart June the 20th. They have 12 match days left to play. And NASCAR is going to run their 4th race in 12 days. They'll go 500 kilometers from Charlotte Motor Speedway this evening. It all begins at 7 o'clock. Sports at 15 and 45 past every hour or anytime at sportsnet.ca/590.
You might see a cannabis edible and think, ooh, that's cute. This one's shaped like a gummy bear. But with an unpredictable high and delayed effects, it's not as innocent as it looks. It's a bit like a miniature pony with a gambling problem.
Or a unicorn using its horn to rebroadcast baseball games without express written consent from the league? Speaking of which, man, I could go for a ballpark jog right now. Oh boy, I think it's kicking in. Learn how to talk with your kids about cannabis edibles at drugfreekidscanada.org. Hey, where am I?
Your roof sprung a leak. Water came through. Shorted out the furnace. The radiator too.
When emergencies happen, get a loan that's way cheaper than a payday loan, with approval in minutes.
If you need money in a hurry, Prudent Financial.
Whether you want to consolidate bills, emergency repairs, it's up to you. Get approval in minutes. When you own your car or home, get a loan. Borrow up to $50,000. Money when you need it most from Prudent Financial. Click for details today.
PrudentFinancial.net.
This is 680 News. In the U.S., anger has reached a boiling point in Minneapolis. Another night of protests over the police killing of George Floyd. The mayor there says there will be an all-out effort to restore peace to the community in the coming days. He's calling for the arrest of the officer seen placing his knee on Floyd's neck until he couldn't breathe. ABC's Alex Perez has more from Minneapolis.
ABC News has obtained video in the moments before Floyd's death where he appears to be cooperating with the officers, contradicting initial police statements that he was resisting. The protests and violence have spread to other spots across the country, clashes with police in Los Angeles and in Memphis. Those who knew George Floyd describe him as a gentle giant and not the kind of person to resist police.
The 4 officers involved in this arrest have been fired. No charges have been laid. Here at home, with more people choosing to wear a non-medical grade mask or face covering, Canada's chief public health officer says she's hearing reports of people being judged harshly for not wearing one. Dr. Theresa Tam says some people have a legitimate reason.
They may suffer from illness or disabilities that make it difficult to put on or take off a mask.
They might know for a fact they're not
breathing and
contagious.
shouldn't wear a mask at all because it will exacerbate their condition. As well, masks and face coverings are not recommended for children under the age of 2 years. We need to be understanding that for some, wearing a mask is not possible.
Dr. Tam says in areas where COVID-19 is active, keeping your distance is the most effective way to protect yourself and others. When you can't keep the 6-foot distance, a mask is an added layer of protection, but still does not eliminate the risk. There is promising news from a study that's trying to determine if a transfusion of plasma donated by recovered COVID-19 patients can reduce deaths and speed up recovery. First 2 COVID-19 patients here in Canada to receive plasma transfusions rich in antibodies are already showing signs of improvement. One is out of intensive care, the other is expected to make a full recovery. The experimental treatment is expanding to at least 20 hospitals by this weekend. Well, it's not surprising people are feeling a little more anxious than usual since dealing with the pandemic. The Center for Addiction and Mental Health has teamed up with research company Delvinia to do a deeper dive into the issue. They've conducted a national survey, and the results show women, younger adults, and people with children living at home are more likely to experience anxiety and depression. A quarter of the respondents said they had moderate to severe anxiety levels. People in jobs that expose them to a high risk of COVID-19 are also more likely to have high levels of anxiety versus those with lower risk jobs at about 33% to 24%.
680 News Time, 2:51.
Traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Carrie Brunskis.
I'm looking at a new problem on the northbound 400 approaching Shepherd. The left lane is blocked by MTO crews. It's because of a stalled vehicle on the left shoulder. Just a minor delay here on the northbound 400, just north of the 401 as you approach Shepherd. Westbound on the 401, that's busy from the 404 to Avenue Road, alternately express and collectors. Dregs again from the Allen to Keel in the express, and then it's heavy from just past the 400 in the express over to Dixon. Also a slow go westbound 401 approaching here Ontario and the collectors to Mavis. And traffic is getting really jammed up from just west of the 407 to approaching James Snow Parkway. And that backup just getting worse by the minute. So we will likely have a new problem on the westbound 401 approaching James Snow Parkway. Any updates appreciated at 680. Eastbound 401, that's busy from Winston Churchill to Mavis. Another delay from south of Pearson in the express over to the 400 express and collectors. Southbound 404 Don Valley Parkway, expect delays from south of Finch onto the 401 ramps. And heading out of downtown, the westbound Gardner, it's jammed from the DVP to west of Strawn. Northbound on the 427 at Rathburn in the express, the right lane remains closed for construction. It's really heavy from Dundas in the express. Collectors are moving much better. And northbound on the Don Valley Parkway, slow going with volume from Dundas to York Mills.
Yeah, see the fucking traffic jam moves with the guy. He's
Now
just
with the
moving
forecast,
slowly.
here's Denise Andriachi.
Periods of rain through the day today, showers tonight, and showers through the day on Friday, with the risk of some thunderstorm activity Friday. Chance of showers still lingers into Friday night, but we should see some clearing through this weekend. It just looks beautiful. Lots of sunshine. A little fresh for some after the high heat and humidity. Temperatures below seasonal in the upper teens for the weekend. Your guaranteed high today, 24.
Beautiful. Mud everywhere. Beautiful. Oh, and garbage.
Rain in downtown Toronto, 21 feels like 27. This extended forecast is brought to you by NorthTorontoAuction.com. New website, new way of doing business. Online only auctions tomorrow and Saturday with light to heavy equipment and pre-owned vehicles. Register at NorthTorontoAuction.com.
Coming up at 3, Toronto Police revealing more information from their investigation into the deadly entertainment district shooting of a Toronto rapper, and the province reporting nearly 400 new cases of COVID-19. Officials say these numbers reflect the gradual reopening of the economy.
This is 680 News. The safety of those around you is more important than ever. The government of Canada has stated that the use of a non-medical mask or facial covering can be an additional measure you can take to protect others around you. It's important we keep the supply of medical masks for frontline healthcare workers. CanadaMaskSupply.ca offers personal, non-medical masks and face shields at reasonable prices. Proudly made in Canada for Canadians. Buy non-medical masks and face shields now at CanadaMaskSupply.ca. You're listening to 680 News.
This is 680 News. Experts say the COVID-19 pandemic could accelerate the transition to cashless payments. The Bank of Canada says the shift away from the banknote has been ongoing for more than a decade, and some businesses that are reopening during the pandemic are now going completely cashless. They include Best Buy, the shoe company, even Longo's grocery stores. However, the central bank is warning that refusing to accept cash while legal further marginalizes some of society's most vulnerable. Roughly 1% of Canadians don't have a debit card, and one expert says the number of people who can't or don't use cards is even higher. Business is next.
680 News Time, 2:55.
Steel dealer days are back this spring with battery blowers and trimmers starting at $159.95. Battery chainsaws at $399.95. And battery lawnmowers starting at $599.95. Steel battery tools are easy to start, easy to run, and easy to maintain. And for a limited time, save 50% off your second battery when you purchase a new unit. See dealer for details. Steel battery products are sold at over 1,000 authorized steel dealers across Canada. Find yours today at steel.ca.
Amazon is hiring near you. No resume or previous work experience required. Health and safety are a top priority with all of our roles and sites. Amazon is taking precautions in our buildings to keep people
anybody and everybody work for you.
Find a job now at Amazon.ca/apply. That's Amazon.ca/apply. 680 News Time, 2:56.
Now the 680 News Business Report. Here is Richard Southern.
Slagena Senior Care stocks are tanking right now on Day Street.
Senior care stocks shouldn't exist.
Care scandal.
Look how
I'm
evil
looking
that
here at
is.
shares of Sienna Senior Living down 6.6%. It's trading near a 10-year low at $9.79. It's basically been cut in half since February. This company, Sienna Senior Living, operates the Almont Care home in Scarborough, which was named in that Canadian military report this week, which highlighted disgusting conditions. Sienna also operates the Camilla Care Center in Mississauga, where at least 61 residents have died after contracting the coronavirus. Now, Premier Ford this afternoon was asked if investors in these long-term care company stocks should expect profit to be sacrificed to improve conditions. Here's what he said.
You want to invest in a company, then make sure the company's run well. You know, any of us that are listening right now, you buy a stock, you have to do your due diligence to make sure that the product is good. And on these ones, specifically the ones that Canadian Armed Forces in, they failed. And I would expect, as a shareholder, to start holding the CEO and the chair accountable. That's what happens in the real world. You put a lousy product out there, and you know, if something happens to your product, well, they have to be held accountable. Because guess what? We're going to hold them accountable.
Shares into other Canadian nursing home operators are also hard hit right now, even though neither had residents that were named in that report. Extendicare stock down 2.1% at $5.52, and Chartwell retirement residents down 3.8%, down to $8.14. That's a stock down 41% this year. Well, the broader markets are moving higher right now. Investors remain optimistic that the worst of the economic carnage caused by COVID-19 just might be behind us. We got the TSX ahead by 25 points, up to 15,297. It's a near 3-month high. On Wall Street, the Dow's up 90 points to 25,639. S&P gaining about 0.6%. The Nasdaq's up 51 points, or 0.5%. CIBC and TD Banks both in with troubling earnings. All the banks are really missing big time. In fact, most of them, including TD and CIBC, had their profits pretty much cut in half. They had to set aside a lot more for bad loans. CIBC stock is down 1.3% at $90.58. TD trading down 2.8% on base rate. Got the Canadian dollar moving lower. It's at 72.62 cents US. Troubling details regarding that shooting 2 days ago and the rest of the day's top stories next on 680 News.
SendUsMasks.com is your trusted source for reusable and washable, high-quality, 100% cotton face masks. SendUsMasks.com can supply you with a small personal-use pack of 5 masks or 50,000 masks for your entire organization. All orders ship from their Toronto warehouse within 1 to 2 business days. Discounts available for recurring orders. Cost-effective large quantity orders are also available. Order today at SendUsMasks.com.
Sprung a leak. Water came through, shorted out the furnace, the radiator too. Hey, stuff happens.
And when you need money now, and I mean right now, there's PrudentFinancial.net.
If you need money in a hurry, PrudentFinancial.net. Get money quick, just one click. PrudentFinancial.net.
Our rates are way cheaper than a payday loan, and they help to improve your credit score. When you own your car or home, get a loan up to $50,000 fast.
PrudentFinancial.net.
Now, 680 News regional weather conditions for Walmart.
May is Hypertension Month. Learn about risk factors and management from your pharmacist at Walmart. This message is presented by Sandoz Canada. Orangeville rain and 20 degrees. Brampton rain and 21. Downtown Toronto 21 degrees in the rain. 680 News is CFTR AM Toronto. It's 3 o'clock.
For breaking news, traffic, bad weather. This is 680 News, Toronto.
Here are James Monroe and Lieutenant Minzik.
Good afternoon, it's Thursday, May 28th.
Here's what's making news right now.
Police describe video evidence from Tuesday's daylight shooting downtown that left an aspiring rapper dead.
This was an active gunfight happening in one of the busiest street corners in our city.
The province extends the mandate for a teen in charge of helping long-term care homes through the COVID-19 pandemic as we see a new surge in cases across Ontario. With part of the goal trying to create more space for physical distancing, Toronto City Council pushes forward with a major plan to rapidly expand its cycle network by voting overwhelmingly in favor of active TO. Alex Ovechkin, David Pastrnak, and Leon Draisaitl took home some NHL hardware today. And what move is next for the MLB Players Association? Sports at 15.
Canada launching a new feature allowing you to send packages. We got the details. Investors are sending stocks higher. The TSX up 25. Business at 26.
680 News Time 301.
Traffic weather together, Gary.
Well, we have a new problem, James. Northbound on the 404, just north of Shepherd, in between the Express and Collectors on the Bullnose, there's a crash. Tow trucks are on the scene, so it's partially blocking the right lane of the Express, partially blocking the left lane of the Collectors. Again, this is northbound 404, just north of Shepherd, so that backup is just starting to build from the 401. It's already heavy, though, on the northbound DVP from approaching Dundas all the way up to York Mills, so it won't be long before those two delays connect. Northbound on the 400, approaching Shepherd, the left lane blocked there because of a stalled vehicle, but just a minor delay. Westbound westbound 401, it's a busy drive across the city from the 404 to Avenue Road, alternately express and collectors. Again, from the Allen to Keele and the express. Then it jams up westbound 401 from the 400 express and collectors to Dixon. Thanks to traffic spotters for the updates. Westbound 401 approaching James Snow Parkway on the right shoulder. There's a stalled transport truck there. So it's little way westbound on the 401. First off from here, Ontario on the collectors to just west of Mavis. Then it jams up again from the 407 to approaching James Snow Parkway. Eastbound 401, that's heavy from east of Winston Churchill to Mavis. Then busy from south of Pearson and the express over to the 400 express and collectors. Into the Durham region, it's backed up from Westney to east of Salem. And on the northbound 427 at Brantford and the express, still have the right lane closed for construction. Traffic is jammed from Dundas and the express and from approaching Bloor in the collectors. Your next traffic report is at 3:11. Now with the forecast, Natasha, it's been a sunny afternoon and we still have some rain to come.
But then it stalled. It didn't
Yeah, we've had 2 to 4 millimeters so far, another 2 to 4 millimeters to go. So I mean, we're under a special weather statement for this rain. I really don't think it should be in place because we're not getting anywhere near 20 to 40 millimeters. Not today. Tomorrow we might. But today this is just a steady light rain making things green. Now showers taper off right around 8 p.m. tonight. Maybe a little bit misty and foggy overnight as we drop to 18 degrees and a muggy start to Friday. 25 feeling like 32. It's the late afternoon and evening. We are watching for thunderstorms. Could really pack a punch, as I mentioned here, in terms of rainfall. We've got to keep an eye on that. Could make things a little bit tricky to travel out on the roadways late tomorrow. Overnight tonight, we're down to 18 degrees for the low. It is currently 21 degrees, Humidex 27 at Pearson. 680 News Time 3:03.
Police have this afternoon released disturbing video of a gun battle in the middle of the day in the entertainment district that left a well-known Toronto rapper dead.
680's Mark Douglas joins us live now with word the video shows a child in the middle of the chaos. Mark.
This was violence in Toronto, Slogena, that's almost never been seen before.
Many casualties could have occurred, and this was an active gunfight happening on one of the busiest street corners in our city, and broad daylight. There was no regard for life.
Detective Sergeant Andy Singh says 21-year-old DeMargio Jenkins was a target in the Tuesday afternoon shootout on Blue Jays Way near King Street. A 15-year-old boy who was one of the people walking with Jenkins along the street was also wounded by the gunfire, as was a woman who was an innocent bystander. Singh says a shooter with a handgun with a high-capacity clip for 30 rounds opened fire from a blue Volkswagen Tiguan that was lying in wait. As Singh calls it, Jenkins and his friends returned fire. A mother and a child who just happened to be there in their own vehicle were almost hit.
Very close to the 6-year-old boy, inches from his feet, and as the shots are hitting the ground, you can see dust coming up.
Singh says 23 shots were fired, all told. And again, this is at 4 o'clock in the afternoon downtown. Guns have been recovered, and the blue Tiguan has since been recovered. It's been burnt. Jenkins was an aspiring rapper in Toronto who went by the name Houdini. He was quite an up-and-comer who had a large fan base and was highly regarded by the Toronto music industry. Now, Toronto police have released surveillance video images of all this violence, and that has been made public. You can see that video evidence on our station's website. Have a look, and if you can identify any of the people involved in this horrific crime downtown, please call police or Crime Stoppers right away. Reporting live, I'm Mark Douglas.
This is 680 News. Toronto's police chief is asking people in the city to wait for all of the facts before they decide if police were responsible for the death of a 29-year-old woman who fell from a 24th floor balcony in Hyde Park. Chief Saunders says he's anxiously waiting for the investigation to be complete to get to the truth.
Because of the fact that it is mandated that the Special Investigations Unit investigates it, and by law, we cannot say anything with respect to the information leading to those moments. It's difficult. And I will tell you, if I had a wish, I wish that we could give absolutely everything that occurred.
The SIU says police were called to 100 Hyde Park shortly after 5 yesterday for a domestic complaint. An autopsy is being conducted today. The police watchdog says it is aware of allegations being made by relatives of the victim that officers may have played a role in her death. It wants to talk to anyone with more info. Mayor Tory put out a statement, says he fully supports the independent SIU investigation and hopes it will provide answers as soon as possible.
The latest data on the war against the spread of COVID-19 shows an increase in the total number of cases cases in Ontario compared to the last few days. It's reflecting stage 1 of the reopening of our economy. Here's 680 Stuart McGinn.
383 new cases, representing another one-day spike, and 34 new deaths. But it comes as testing numbers continue to increase, and Ontario's health minister says they're comfortable with the spike because it lines up with the beginning of stage 1. We know the majority of Ontario's fatalities come from long-term care homes, and today Premier Doug Ford announced an extension of the mandate for what's called the Incident Management System Long-Term Care Table, a team he says has been getting results since their inception in April.
Positive tests for COVID-19 among residents have gone down to single digits. We've completed testing in all of our homes, and the second round is well underway.
Ford says with these steps, the province is ready to respond to any surge in cases across long-term care facilities. The province's Minister of Long-Term Care explained the percentage of positive cases has dropped to 7.5% from 12.5% at the beginning of the month, while 164 long-term care home outbreaks have been resolved.
That's still around Stuart McGinn. That's still 10.
This is City News. Meanwhile, the wheels are turning at a virtual City Hall meeting today.
Still rounds to the same fucking number. You didn't change much.
Listening in.
Slow down.
James and those expanded bike lanes are going forward. The city council spent most of the day up until now talking about the active TO plan, was its building out of the cycle network in Toronto. Now, this was already a plan that was in motion, but they've decided to hit the gas on it and really accelerate it quick time because of the COVID-19 pandemic. The thinking is if you build out a cycle system that is safe for people to use, more people will be encouraged to get on their bikes, ride to work, stay on public transit, thereby keeping physical distancing for other people to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Mayor Tory says we're living in a time now where some people are afraid to get back on the bus or other forms of transit.
And so I just think there's an awful lot of people out there who will be looking for an alternative for transit in the short term, and who will be not able to assume that a car is one of those options. I think there are lots and lots of those people.
This plan did pass fairly easily by a vote of 23-2. Reporting live, I'm Owen Qureshi.
Here with All News Radio 680 News. It might look odd, but circles are now painted on the grass at Trinity Bellwoods Park to help people stay 2 meters apart. The circles are 8 feet wide and spaced 10 feet apart. Mayor John Tory tells City News the markings will help to further illustrate proper physical distancing requirements.
Well, we do have the example that have been set, I think, in San Francisco and maybe New York, of these circles being put on the ground to help people to understand what social distancing and physical distancing means. And we saw with that scene that was clearly unacceptable from a standpoint of public health or even adherence to the law in the park last week, that there was a real challenge for us there. So I guess this is one of the things you can do to help people understand what physical distancing means.
And the move comes after thousands of people flaunted social distancing rules at Trinity Bellwoods Park on Saturday. Tory says this is a pilot project, and if it works, it could be expanded to other parks in the city.
Working from home?
Stay up to date on the coronavirus.
Now more than ever.
Listen 3, 4, 5 times a day on your radio,
680news.com,
or ask to play 680 News on your smart speaker.
Now, 680 News gas price update. Info predicts price is coming down 3 cents at midnight.
Welcome to The Bright Spot, an online community created especially for older adults, where you can learn new skills, stay fit,
Well, you get over a gallon of gas for one bus trip.
meet
2
new
gallons of
people,
gas for a
or
round trip.
stay in touch with friends, all from the comfort of your own home. Why not join us at The Bright Spot? Because after all, this is your time to shine. The YMCA of Greater Toronto. Visit brightspotymca.ca.
680 News Time 311.
Traffic and weather together, KP.
Well, we have a busy drive on a number of routes. The rain really not helping matters. Northbound on the Don Valley Parkway, that's really slow from Dundas up to York Mills. Then northbound on the 404, north of Shepherd. This crash has now been moved over to the right shoulder, and it's backed up on the northbound 404 from the 401 to just north of Shepherd. Another delay on the northbound 404 just briefly as you head toward 16th Avenue. Now on the southbound 404, we have a new problem.